subscribe, like the video, and, if possible, join Patreon. But if you don't have much money, you can support the channel by watching the novels on euroaudiobooks.com. Remember that you can participate in the polls so that your favorite novel gets published for free.
Synopsis. Mel traveled to the world of pirates and awakened the god-level avatar system, able to pinch out an avatar that would never betray and was full of loyalty. Looking at the first batch of abilities that can be purchased in the avatar mall, reversal technique, ultimate balance, fu, and mo yu chef, he smiled brightly, and it was decided to be you with two faces. So the era of the great pirate began to usher in unprecedented shocks. A new storm begins to blow. The uncrowned king above the pirate four emperors, Ryomen Sukuna, the vicious era shaker, Hunter Hisoka, the world's #1 swordsman, Yachiryu Unohana Retsu, the strongest Admiralking in history. The entire sea was pushed to unprecedented waves. Usopp, why is there such a monster on four emperors? Terrible. I want to go home. Katakuri. Hisoka, I've become strong enough not to be at your mercy, redhead. Hawkeye, don't challenge her, but it's easy to die. The Marines, times of riot. Fortunately, we have Lord Admiral King, the strongest in history, and his Purgatory Wushuang explosive heat wave cannon is the strongest. Chapter 1 Lovesickness is finally about to begin. See Circle Calendar 1501. 3 years ago, the words of One Piece Joel D. Roger before his execution made people flock to the sea. Do you want my treasure? If you want it, I can give it to you. Go find it. I put all the treasure there. In order to compete for One Piece, many pirates began to establish hegemony and compete vigorously, thus forming the era of great pirates. Today, 3 years later, all kinds of young people who longed for One Piece or villains and heroes who took this as a reason embarked on the journey. The entire sea situation has become extremely chaotic. Grand Line, Calm Belt, an isolated island full of wild beasts of all kinds. A red-hued ship dragged by 2 giant snakes docked beside the island. A woman steps down from above, wearing a white cheongsam with a main tone and a red outer robe. Long hair like ink, fair skin, slim figure, beautiful face. Name Mysel, the current emperor of the Amazon Lily of Hydra Island. At this time, she was heading toward a shaking place on the island. As she walked forward, even if there were passing beasts, they would not dare to be presumptuous towards her. Minutes passed. What came into view was a scene like a battlefield. The huge beasts that fell to the ground and their bodies piled up in the center were like the top of a tower. A boy who looks very sunny and handsome, about 14 years old, sitting cross-legged on it. Mel, long time no see. That's when Mezel saw him. The original iceberg beauty on her face melted instantly, showing a beautiful smile. Ah, it's Sister Misha. Did you come here so early this time? Mel, chin resting, contemplating life. He looked back after hearing the voice, then jumped off the stacked beast tower, and Melsa looked at Mel, who came to her, hands outstretched. All of a sudden, he hugged his head. Mel just felt 2 huge balls of soft cake sticking to his face. Feel out of breath. Woo, woo, woo. It took a while. He was let go. At the same time, he could clearly smell the alluring body fragrance of the beautiful woman in front of him. Really, Sister Misha, don't do this every time. I almost can't breathe. Since the fight with the woman in front of me a month ago, her attitude towards him, which was not very intimate, had changed a lot. Now, gradually, it developed to the point where I had to do this to him when I met him. Although, it's really nice and soft to the touch, but it will really suffocate if it is covered for a long time. Hey, sorry, I can't help it. Hearing the complaint from the boy in front of her, Meshel immediately apologized softly. At the same time, he reached out to help him straighten his messy hair. He didn't move either, just looking at her quietly. In this atmosphere, her face also slowly turned rosy under his gaze. A little flustered and shifted his gaze. Miss Hale shifted her focus, untied a small box tied around her waist. Then he held it and handed it to him like a treasure offering. Look, what is this? This is... Mel took the box with some doubts and opened it. Eyes lit up. Devil fruit. It turned out to be devil fruit. What a help. Thank you so much, Sister Mezel. He smiled brightly at her. Before, although he raised his mouth, he didn't hold out much hope. After all, as the treasure of the sea, devil fruit is quite difficult to find in a short time. Originally, he planned to go out and find it by himself after this practice, but he didn't expect that she would give him such a surprise. Is that all? What? Hearing Mel's words in front of her, Mel was a little puzzled. Feel. The atmosphere is a bit wrong. Meshal didn't say much. Instead, she reached out and hugged him tightly. The wind blew gently, blowing her ink-like long wind. The picture seems to freeze at this moment. After a while, stay on Nine Snakes Island from now on. Stay by my side. I can help you get whatever you want. Her gentle voice rang in his ears. So, don't think about going out to sea. If you leave, I will be very painful here. Mel listened to the whisper of the beautiful woman in his ear. It also changed his face. Pain? No way. Could it be that? He is obviously only 14 years old. How can it be? Lovesickness. A disease that all successive emperors of Nine Snake Island may suffer from. This kind of lovesickness is very difficult to cure, unless the symptoms could be relieved by seeing the lovesickness. Otherwise, it will be unbearable after a period of time. Mel's eyes were a little complicated. All the time, he also thought that Mishiter started to treat him well because she developed a sister-in-law relationship with him. Did not expect. It turned out to be lovesickness. After all, he is really not that old now. So he didn't look in that direction to think. Take a deep breath. He patted her on the back to comfort her. Sister Misha, this is my first shelter in this world. You took me in at the time, and I will come back even if I go out in the future. This is my home, and I don't want to leave you for too long. So rest assured. Hearing his words, she let go of her arms. Looking directly into his serious eyes, she showed a beautiful smile. Mel, this is so kind. After she said this, Mel just felt like he was suffocating again. Time passed quietly. Seeing off Melsha's perfect figure, Mel also heaved a sigh of relief. I almost suffocated just now. After that figure disappeared completely, Mel made a serious expression. Take out the small box on one side and open it. Devil fruit? It's finally time to start. Mel's heart slowly echoed. Book reading fun on Friday. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge. Activity time. April 29th to May 3rd. Chapter 2. It's up to you. He is a time traveler. There is no need to elaborate on the reason for the time travel. A year ago, after being selected by the system, he came to this era of great pirates, then entered a magical space. My own body is directly rejuvenated and genetically optimized and endowed with a template for ordinary people in this world. Not only that, but you can also choose two of the several talents given by the system. Finally, he chose the strongest conqueror's haki, 2 talents of steel balloon. Then it fell from the sky after leaving that dimension. Seriously, at that time, he didn't feel his body getting stronger in midair. I just feel that the system is a fake, and I want a dog to bring it. But fortunately, the moment it hit a ship at the end, Iron Balloon and the strongest conqueror's haki arrive at the same time. A big hole was smashed into the boat at once, and at the same time, the conqueror's haki that was excited for the first time exploded directly. The people on the 2 ships fighting at sea at that time were stunned a lot. And one of the boats is the boat of Geosnake Island. Just in that situation, he meets Mezel. It may be the aptitude he showed at a young age, or the state he told of being homeless and ready to wander. In the end, he was taken in by her, and the system disappeared immediately after that time. And before disappearing, it was also known as replenishing energy. This supplement lasted for 1 year. It was only launched suddenly half a month ago, but to activate it, you need the special product Devil Fruit of this world. This is no different from recharging and activating. So he raised his eyebrows when Mezel came to see him later. He didn't expect too much. If he couldn't find it, he would go to sea to find it by himself. Unexpectedly, Mezel gave him a surprise this time. System, activate with this Devil Fruit. At this moment, Mel was sitting cross-legged on a boulder, thinking silently. Ding dong. It is detected that the Devil Fruit smashed the fruit, whether to activate the system. A somewhat mechanically cold voice echoed in his mind. Crush fruit? This ability should be paramecia. feel the development potential is great. Mishra must have spent a lot of effort for this fruit, but now it is more important to activate the system. Thinking of this, Mel no longer hesitated. Confirm. Command execution. System activation. As the system starts to activate, the devil fruit in Mel's hand also disappears. After a while, a reminder that the activation was successful came to my mind. Activation is successful. The God-level avatar system will serve you wholeheartedly. With a mechanical click in his head, the last basic usage information of the system was instilled into Mel's mind. God-level avatar system. Mel felt the message in his head and began to grope. The function of the system is simple. You can outline a clone image in your mind and then give him a personality. Then the system will create it. This avatar will have the characteristic of full loyalty. The current quota is 1. Create directly now. Of course, the avatar created directly in this way is the template of ordinary people in this world. So at this time, the clone store of the system is needed. The avatar store can purchase ability skills for the avatar. It can be said to greatly expand the upper limit of the avatar. But the currency in the avatar mall needs to be recharged, and the recharge item in this world is devil fruit. System, open the avatar store. With Mel's silent recitation, a virtual blue panel tens of centimeters appeared in front of his eyes. There are 6 grids in the panel. Each grid has a simple image and name on it. There are also prices. Just click on the respective images to see a detailed description of the capabilities above. The balance of 10,000 is displayed on the lower left of the avatar mall, which is obviously transformed by the devil fruit just now. Strength, 2,000 Son of the Wind, 2,000 Ultimate Balance, 3,000 Fu Mo Royal Cook, 2,000 Reversal Spell, 3,000 Observation Hockey, 2,000 looking at the abilities on the avatar shop. Mel narrowed his eyes. He clicked back and forth to observe the effect inside. Finally, I set my sights on that extremely iconic ability. There's also an immediate decision in my heart, and the first avatar really has to be him. That's right, people with his personality are prone to trouble. That being the case, it's up to you, the two-faced Nuwa. After making a decision, Mel immediately prepared to create the first clone. As for the ability to match, at present, it seems that the speed flow is the main one. If you have a balance of 10,000, you can choose Zonda, Ultimate Balance, Reversal, and Observation Hockey. Such words just run out. As for the other 2, you can only wait for the 2 sides to find the new devil fruit. Then recharge and buy it for him. Make decisions with Mel. He started to use the quota for building clones. The system also starts prompting whether to start building. After confirming, Mel directly entered a virtual blue space. Looking at the surrounding environment, he was also a little curious, but he didn't care that much anymore. Entry is time-limited. Time to hurry up. According to the information sent by the system, start to build the avatar image mindfully. And the system also began to help correct it according to his wishes. The service is very attentive. Soon a lifelike two-faced Nuwa began to appear in front of his eyes. There are black lines on the body and a feminine white kimono. The image constructed by Mel is based on the image of the two-faced Su Nuwa in the soul space of Polygonum Cuspidatum Urine in the original work of the previous life. Of course, those lines are decorations, and there are no extra small mouths or eyes on the face. As he builds, the next step starts character input. This character input does not directly define a character. Instead, it is derived from the experience of remembering scenes one by one, and then the personality. Based on these experiences, the system will enter detailed simulation input of personality. Only such a character can be supported by charm. It will not appear pale and empty. Human character itself is a collection of experiences. Through this aggregate, a similar mental model is constructed. This is exactly the principle of the second step character simulation. Of course, the memory of the avatar does not have these experiences. It's just with the help of a model. At this time, Mel entered the general experience of the two-faced Nuwa in his previous life. It doesn't matter if you don't have specific experience. The system can also perform auxiliary simulations, guaranteed to fit the image of the person in Mel's mind. Book reading fun on Friday. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge activity time. April 29th to May 3rd. Chapter 3 Not Bad. Add fire to the era. As time goes by, the two-faced Sunua in front of him also began to have a charm. It seems to be full of powerful malice. Soon the second step is over. System, open the panel of Sunua on both sides. As he shouted, a panel appeared in front of him. Doppelganger, two-faced Sunua strength, D physique, D agile, D spirit, D plus ability, none skills, none reputation, 0 note. D. Attributes of ordinary people in the current world at present. The God-level avatar system uses the common letter attribute division. In the attribute division of the system, the D attribute is the attribute of ordinary people in the current world. Then D plus, C, C plus, A plus, S in the system's information. S is the Admiral 4 Emperors, the world's top combat power. Of course, all letters are an interval, not a fixed value. Even if two people with the same letter attributes, they're strong and weak in this range. Now, although the two-faced Nua is the attribute of the whiteboard, the spirit is unexpectedly at D+, which is much stronger than normal people. It is the background that character simulation brings to him. But if you want to use character simulation, such as setting up a very cowhide experience to squeeze the wool of the system, you don't have to think about it. This benefit is only available to a certain extent. If the character simulation is done too hard, the build will fail directly. Looking at the ordinary attributes of Sunua on both sides, Mel's eyes flickered. Then start to add abilities to him. Follow Mel to call the Avatar Mall. The Avatar Mall also emerged. Click the Purchase button under each grid. After the purchase is successful, the system pulls out a clone that can be matched with. There is no doubt that there are only two places in it. Put all the purchasing power on Ryomen Sukuna. In the next second, his panel began to update. Doppelganger, two-faced Sunua strength, D physique, D dexterity, D plus spirit, C abilities, ultimate balance, level C, reverse spell, level C, son of the wind, level C skills, observation hockey, level C, reputation, 0 note. The attributes of ordinary people in the current world, I saw that his attributes were somewhat affected by his abilities and skills. Ultimate balance has a high degree of control over the body. This kind of mastery does not come out of thin air. It is a potential manifestation of spirit. It is possible to let the two-faced Sunua display strength and agility beyond the simple attributes of the panel by relying on the force technique. Because he can control the muscle force of his body in detail. It can burst out with high power, and the reaction can increase the speed, and the careful control makes it easier to manipulate the body to avoid attacks. The reverse spell is not a simple original effect, but an ability to become like a devil fruit. It can consume stamina to restore the body's injuries. The same is true for the Son of the Wind. It seems that the ability can consume physical strength to move quickly. Even if it is not activated, it passively increases the sensitivity of the body. Not to mention observation hockey, it requires a certain spiritual foundation to activate. Just like this, the spiritual attribute has been raised a lot due to ultimate balance and observation hockey. At present, although the attributes of the two-faced Nua are still very stretched, but rely on multiple abilities and skills. Combat power is much stronger than pure attributes. After the ability is loaded, Mel ends this double edit. Get out of that space right away. Then back to reality. And the two-faced Sunu also appeared in front of him out of thin air. Started to wake up slowly. The eyes of Sunua on both sides opened suddenly, and the corners of his mouth curled up wantonly. Are you my creator? It looks very strong. Mel looked at the evil man in front of him and smiled. He holds out his hand. Welcome to this world, two-faced Nua. And Sunua on both sides also stretched out his hand to hold it. It seems that my creator is not bad. This is good news. The clones created by the system are all living people. They have different personalities and have a high degree of self-thinking ability. Although they have full loyalty to Mel, but it will be naive to dismiss them as robots for that reason. If there is no corresponding charm, it will not be so easy to fully control them. Even if it is a full value of loyalty, the way of expression will be different. But Mel didn't hate it. After all, these people who should have been lawless are respectful. Instead, he will feel disobedient. And such a person has the active observability that he wants. For Mel, loyal enough is enough. It's off to a good start. If such a start can lead to collapse, then how bad it must be to achieve that level. Although Mel doesn't think he's outstanding, it's not so corrupt. After a few days, Grand Line, a remote part of a bustling island called Gad Island. The perfume snake, pulled by the snake, stayed nearby. Mel watched the man leave. Brother Mel, who is that person? It's wrapped tightly and mysteriously. At this moment, a black-haired lowly ran to Mel's side. Pulling Mel's loose sleeves, he looked at the figure curiously. Next to her are two lowly, one with green hair and one with yellow hair. He's my friend, Hancock. Mel patted Hancock's head and said with a smile. Then he turned around and said to a female warrior on board, Sister Mylan, we can arrange for people to set sail. We should go back early. Otherwise, Sister Misha should complain. Yes, Lord Mel. A blonde female warrior also responded seriously. The boy in front of him was highly valued by the king, and he even gave an order that his words were equivalent to hers. And even though he is still so young, his strength is extremely strong. Just like that, they're also very odd. As the order was communicated, the ship began to move away. Mel watched the ship set sail. He looked at the floating clouds in the sky and murmured in his heart, Go and add fire to this era. Two-Faced Noah. Book reading fun on Friday. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge activity time. April 29th to May 3rd. Chapter for the first surprise. Madman the other side. Two-Faced Su Nuo began to walk slowly and gradually came to the bustling area. The cloak on his body also began to fall off, and he randomly pulled it up and threw it into the trash can next to him. I seem to smell the sweet smell of blood. Will you give me a surprise when it comes up? Hee. Let me see what happened. As he goes. Soon, he came to the bustling port on this island. Shot. At this time, gun battles and fighting are going on at the port on the island. A group of pirates are fighting Marine. The sound of fighting is also deafening. In a complex of buildings not far from the port, many people hid in it and watched the battle between the two sides. From time to time, there are still flashes of light. It was a reporter in the crowd filming with a phone bug. Mad Dog Pirates, a new pirate group. Captain Jijia, nicknamed Mad Dog, behaves like a mad dog. At the same time, he is the demon fruit power of the Zoan Hound, with a bounty of 51 million Baileys. Marine is now intercepted by Naval Headquarters Commodore Dachman. Such a battle is already rare news for reporters on this island. At this time, Dachman Commodore raised his fist and collided with Jijia, who had already turned into a beast. The two sides are not giving in, although the two seem to be evenly matched. But the people under him are different. Obviously, the pirate side has the upper hand, because the Mad Dog Pirates have a deputy captain who offers a reward of more than 20 million after the captain. Marine is weaker in advanced combat power, while the fight is still gelatinous. Keep going. Marine has a high probability of being the loser. Ha ha ha. Dachman, you are still chasing after him, but this time you are dead. Take your head, and Lousy's bounty will increase again. While the two collided, Jijia was still talking trash, seeing that Jijia's words affected the morale of the surrounding Marines. Dachman Commodore also said loudly, Stop talking nonsense. Our reinforcements will arrive soon, and then you will spend your entire life in Impel Down. Hearing Dachman Commodore's words, the morale of the Marine next to him was also raised, and Jijia's face darkened. He didn't say a word, but the attack frequency was higher. At the same time, he took the time to wink to his deputy captain, telling him to quickly get rid of other Marines. As long as you can defeat the Marine in front of you, then they will not be able to pursue them for a long time. After all, in comparison, replenishment of Marine troops will be more troublesome. As long as the pirate group is well known and their backbone is intact, they can immediately attract a group of minions and even masters. So compared to consumption, Jijia is not afraid at all. Mad Dog Punch, Iron Body, just when the trump cards of both sides are fighting to their heart's content. The third-party crowd, watching from a distance, quickly noticed something was wrong. A pink-haired man in loose, white clothes walked towards the battlefield. What's the matter with that person? Why did he run over? It doesn't look like a Marine, and it doesn't match up with the Mad Dog Pirates. You can't be a fool. Go to death. Maybe I'm blind. The crowd in the distance looked at the man and couldn't help but start discussing. But the few reporters inside were sensitively aware that something was wrong. That man's look and that calmness. Either a stunned young man or a strong man. Maybe there's new news. At this time, they took the camera phone bugs hanging around their necks and began to take pictures nonstop, even if it's just a stunned young man. The level is just a waste of a few photos. It's no price to them. And on the battlefield, over time, Marine pirates began to notice something was wrong. A person is killing wildly, whether it is a Marine or a pirate. As long as he is in front of him, he will be killed or maimed. You guy, who the hell? Where did you come from? A vicious 3-meter-tall pirate directly raised his sword and rushed towards the careless man. He is also a small cadre in the Mad Dog Pirates, and he also has a bounty of 5 million Baileys. Although there are not many, it is already a figure in this pirate group. When he saw that pink-haired dwarf running over to kill at will, he was also furious. So coming to this kid with a big knife is a hack. He wanted to split the kid's head open. It's just that Sunua on both sides flashed slightly sideways. The broadsword flew across the air and slashed to the ground. A crack was cut out on the ground and extended out. The flaw is too big. At this time, the two-faced Sunua had come to the pirate. Just stretch out your hand lightly, and acceleration. Under the skyrocketing eyes of this pirate, an afterimage streaked across his neck. He couldn't help but let go of the handle of the knife, holding his neck with both hands. Cluck! A stream of blood spurted from his neck. He couldn't help but tremble when he touched the blood, and then he walked a few steps tremblingly and fell down. The Marine pirates around him were also in an uproar. How can it be? That guy actually killed Captain Gamai with one move. Who the hell is he? And the reporters who were shooting in the distance were also excited. Very good. This new character actually instantly killed that Gamai pirate. Although the pirates with a reward of 5 million on the Grand Line are not considered strong. But it is also a good strength to be able to kill it in seconds. How will the next event develop? Can new news be developed? Now, they can't wait. On the battlefield, the uproar over there also attracted the attention of Dutchman Commodore and Captain Jijia, who were fighting. They saw the pirate Gamai who fell to the ground next to the pink-haired man. The mind flashed at the same time. Our reinforcements. Marines' reinforcements? The two separated with a single blow. I just learned a few words from the surrounding Marines or pirates. I know this third party who came with bad intentions. It's like a lunatic to come here to slaughter the subordinates of both sides. Book reading fun on Friday. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge activity time. April 29th to May 3rd. Chapter 5 Acquisition of Reputation Points. Agile flow, since the leaders of both sides stopped fighting. The people next to them also stopped and stood behind them. The entire battlefield caused a chain reaction. Slowly, the fighting stopped. As the fighting ceased on both sides began to build up, the incompatible double-faced Sunua suddenly became conspicuous. Ross, go and kill that guy. How dare you be so arrogant? Don't give him any color and see how I can mess around in the future. Jijia was angry. He doesn't have a good temper for this kind of guy who puts eye drops on him as soon as he comes up. Okay, Captain. A swordsman with a knife nodded when he heard Jijia's words. He is the vice captain of the Mad Dog Pirates. With a bounty of 28 million Baileys, if placed in East Blue, he could already be called the #1 character. As for Marine, Colonel Dutchman was also angry because the pink-haired man killed Marine. But he persuaded the other angry Marines. At present, their combat power is already lower than that of pirates. Now it would be best for the pirates to test that person's strength. Now their most important task is to delay time. Wait for reinforcements to show up. At that time, these pirates will be wiped out in one go. So under the attention of pirates and Marine. Pirate, Rose walked up to the man. "Where did you come from? You dare to touch our bad luck. But it doesn't matter. Remember my name, Swordsman Rose. This is the one who killed you." Rose clenched the knife in his hand and was ready to attack. The opponent's ability to kill Jia Mai has already proved his strength. He won't be too big. The pirates were also excited when they saw Ross make a move. It's Deputy Captain Ross. He's the man with a bounty of 28 million Baileys. That's right. Not only that, but he can easily cut through a boulder the size of a person with a knife. He is much stronger than Captain Gamai. This guy is dead. This person doesn't know how to live or die. He dares to mess around with a little strength. He killed a lot of our people just now. It will depend on how he dies. From the perspective of the pirates, with Deputy Captain Ross taking action, there's basically no surprise. Swordsman? Interesting. At this time, facing Rose's two-faced Nuaw is also fresh. He was just born in this world, feeling fresh about everything. The other side, the perfumed snake, which has left the island. In a room, Mel sat on the couch inside, heard the prompt of the system. It also opened up information about the two-faced Nuaw. You can see the screen swiping from the blue virtual log that appears. Two-faced Sunuaw enters a fighting state. Two-faced Sunuaw kills a pirate. Two-faced Sunuaw killed a pirate. Two-faced Nuaw prestige +5. Two-faced Sunuaw kills a marine. Two-faced Nuaw prestige +7. Have you clashed with others so quickly? As expected of him, Mel couldn't help but smile inwardly. Since the freshman two-faced Sunuaw was still too weak, he also set some conditions. This includes asking the system to remind him if the two-faced Sunuaw enters the combat state for a certain period of time. In this way, he can add points to the two-faced Nuaw in time. The first way for the avatar to become stronger is to self-cultivate and fight beyond the limit to become stronger. This first one is completely the way of ordinary people. It takes a lot of time. As for the avatar created by the system, there's a more convenient second rule. That is to rely on reputation points to become stronger. If you want to gain reputation, you need to increase your influence in the hearts of others. The criteria for its acquisition include emotional ups and downs, strength, world weight, etc. The most significant increase in influence in this world is combat. Showing your fists to other people is easy to get in your way. In other words, you have to do your best to get reputation points. And the person who was first on the scene during the incident was the first eyewitness. It has the highest efficiency in harvesting reputation points. The subsequent spread after the event is fermented is an indirect impact, although the unit reputation value will drop a lot. But it can't stand the crowd. In the early stage, even if there were not many people watching, the prestige provided is not much. But the prestige of each promotion is not high when the clone is weak. So there is still the possibility of adding points in real time. Mel clicks on the red In Battle button in the upper left corner of this log. Then, a screen is displayed. From the angle of view, it can be seen that the image centered on the two-faced Nuaw. Mel can even adjust the angle of the picture. After clearly seeing the surrounding environment of the two-faced Sunuaw, I happened to see a scene where a swordsman was about to attack Sunuaw on both sides. Swordsman? The compatibility with the two-faced Sunuaw is not very good. When Ryomen Sukuna was born, the 9 snake pirates had just returned from their expedition. So, Mel was not in a hurry to send the two-faced Sunuaw out. Instead, give him special training. After a few days of beatings and eating high-calorie beast sea kings, and it assisted the other abilities of the two-faced Sunuaw. In particular, extreme balance and reversal techniques have the greatest effect. The physique of the two-faced Sunuaw has been raised by 1 level, from D to D+. The strength has also improved a lot, but it has not reached the point of raising the level. It is still D. Maybe staying a few more days will allow his power to level up. In addition, the two-faced Sunuaw also acquired a new D-level physical skill. Today's two-faced Sunuaw can be said to be moving quickly. Relying on extreme balance can achieve high burst damage. Take the knowledge and color as the perception, and take the ultimate balance and the son of the wind as the guidance. Finally, use the reverse technique as a base. High explosiveness, high agility, and milk are his positioning. However, if you meet a swordsman, is still a little troublesome. Book reading fun on Friday. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge activity time. April 29th to May 3rd. Chapter 6 Bloody Carnival. Not reconciled on both sides of the Nuwa side. At this time, he was dueling with the swordsman in front of him. The two attacked each other. Rose's knife slashed at every fatal part of the double-faced Sunuo. Two-faced Sunuo relies on observation haki to perceive attacks. Dodge the attack with the smallest margin, without using the ability of the Son of the Wind. His speed was slower than the swordsman in front of him. But the most convenient thing about being knowledgeable is that you can feel the opponent's attack intention. In this way, he can dodge with the shortest distance. Therefore, even if the speed is not as fast as the opponent, the two-faced Sunuo can still calmly face the opponent's attack and even counterattack. For the two-faced Nuwa with extreme balance, this operation it is not difficult to achieve. After dodging the attack, he quickly cut Rose's neck with one hand like a knife. If this move hits the target, the swordsman in front of him will also die. Ordinary people can burst out tons of strength if their muscles can exert force towards one place. The two-faced Sunuo possesses more power than ordinary people, relying on the ability of extreme balance, which has a very high degree of control over the body. This blow also has a high lethality. In particular, he still attacked the weak places of the human body. Of course, bursting out too much strength must have a strong load on the muscular physique. If you're not careful, you'll be broken and injured. Therefore, when the two-faced Sunuo attacks, they attack at the limit that the body can bear. Anyway, this level of lethality is enough for the neck. Rose's pupils could not help shrinking sharply at this moment. The handle of the knife in his hand quickly retreated, bumped into the hand knife that was aimed at his neck. Although it didn't meet him and was dodged by the other party, it was considered a crisis resolved. He didn't dare to neglect and attacked again, but the rhythm was more cautious. The two sides seemed to be engaged in a silent offensive and defensive battle. Attack back and forth, but the attack never fell on the opponent. In the eyes of everyone at the scene, the two figures quickly attacked each other. Due to the two-faced Sunuo's attack style and movements are slower, it looked like Rose was playing on him. It's unbelievable that that guy survived the attack of Deputy Captain Ross. That's right. But now that the opponent is being suppressed and beaten, he won't be able to hold on for long. The surrounding pirates looked at the pink-haired guy in surprise, but they still have a high level of confidence in Rose. And Ross on the court thought so too, although the enemy in front of him seemed to be able to predict his attack for some reason. But the opponent's speed is still much slower than his. Even a counterattack can be cracked by him. He could sense that the other party's breath was not that strong. In other words, the opponent's physical strength cannot support him to do this kind of high-speed dodge for a long time. As long as you continue to show your flaws and get hit by him, it's over. And when Ross was thinking about the protracted war, the two-faced Sunuo showed a wanton smile. That's great. Hurry up. Hurry up. Make me more excited. Is this guy a lunatic? Listening to the words chanted by the person in front of him, Rose thought to himself, then I will do as you wish. I saw that Ross's attack frequency was even faster. There was no chance for Sunuo on both sides to counterattack, and he just kept dodging. Looking at both sides, Sunuo could no longer continue to counterattack. Can only dodge an embarrassment. Jijia also laughed heartily. It's just that he didn't finish laughing. A scream was heard. My eyes. Rose's eyes were blood red at the scene, but it wasn't his blood. There was a wound on one arm of Sunuo on both sides, and blood was dripping out. At this time, Rose's eyes were a little hazy and blood red. In just a moment, the guy in front of him didn't dodge his blade. Instead, let the arm be slashed by the blade and swing the arm. Splashed blood into his eyes. Now all he could feel was bloodshot eyes. Quickly used the blade to make a defensive posture and did not act rashly again. And the two-faced Sunuo, standing opposite him, opened the corners of his mouth wantonly. You had a great time attacking just now. Now it's my turn, right now. With his last words fell, he suddenly rushed towards Rose. And Rose also hurriedly defended carefully. But because the blood in the eyes is not removed, I just feel that the figure in front of me is hazy, plus the opponent's attack frequency. After a while, bloodstains appeared on his body. It was all caused by defensive mistakes and being attacked by the opponent. Wait a little longer. Wait a little longer. Under the attack of the violent storm on both sides. Rose is like a lonely boat in the rough sea. He could feel his eyes gradually recovering their sight. As long as he recovers well, he can suppress the person in front of him again. This time he will not be careless. Why didn't you fight back? Do you want to wait for your eyes to heal? The man in front of him said. Then let me give you new despair. As the other party's words fell, the speed that was still within his handling range suddenly skyrocketed. This speed? How can it be? Was he hiding just now? Don't wait for Ross to think too much. He only felt a part of the muscle in his right hand holding the handle of the knife was suddenly hammered. The handle of the knife in my hand began to feel unsteady. Then he kicked hard at the handle of the knife with one foot. His knife flew out directly. Now, let's enter the bloody carnival together. Rose only heard the murmur of the person in front of him. Immediately, I feel like my body is constantly being attacked. Joints, body, neck, head, body torn, circling pain. The whole body is screaming. He wanted to resist the pain and fight back, but he felt that he couldn't exert all his strength. Listen to the other party's wickedly carefree laughter. The touch of liquid flowing on the skin. That's his blood. Is he dying? Ross felt as if his memory was circulating. Did not expect. Unexpectedly, it ended like this. At last, have you become a swordsman who can't even hold a sword? Really? Not reconciled. Book reading fun on Friday. Recharge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge activity time. April 29th to May 3rd. Chapter 7 Everyone's Shock. Attribute improvement, a whole. Do you think lousy doesn't exist? An angry shout came over. Jijia broke through the blockade of the Marine Commodore and jumped up with a quick sprint. Swinging his fist as big as a sandbag, he slammed at the two-faced Su Nuwa, who was still attacking Ross. His speed was extremely fast. At this moment, Su Nuwa on both sides saw a human dog flying towards him. So Xing Qi punched him. Immediately burst out. The powerful impact force made him rely on unloading skills to retreat and delay the impact. Even so, the two-faced Su Nuwa's arm was still broken and hanging down, and his flesh and blood were also severely sprained. This attack power is not bad. He looked at the big dog walking upright in front of him and also showed interest. Is this the Zoan ability user? It's really interesting. Immediately, without changing expression, the broken arm turned back to its original position like a toy. Reversing the operation of the operation, a force began to heal the arm, and the arm that was originally drooping scratched and returned to the level of fighting. At this time, Jijia had also finished watching his deputy captain. Although he was not dead, he was almost there. The upper body suffered many lacerations, including the fatal part. Even if such a serious injury is treated, it is not known whether it can be saved. He arranged for the surrounding men to move Ross into the ship for simple treatment. Such a good combat power can't just die casually. After the arrangements were made, I turned around and saw this scene. Jijia's eyes were also widened. His attack, just now, clearly felt that the opponent's arm could no longer fight. Now it seems that the ability to move has been regained, and this healing speed is not at the level of ordinary people. Boy, it seems that you are capable, but this is not the reason for you to provoke lousy. Jijia looked fiercely at Su Nuwa on both sides. When he realized something was wrong at the first moment, he wanted to go to the rescue, but was intercepted by the Marine Commodore on the opposite side. In the end, he was able to break through his interception because Rose seemed to be dying and let him come over. What is the plan of that guy? If Jijia knows very well. At this moment, he looked at the pink-haired kid in front of him and continued. However, your strength is good. You can even defeat my vice captain. Join my pirate group. The vice captain can let you do it in the future. Looking at the interested expression of the person in front of him, he waved his fist and threatened. Otherwise, prepare to be buried here. He had an absolute advantage in the fight just now. Even if the opponent is an ability user and can recover some injuries, it is really a dream to defeat him by this. When Jijia and Liang Miansen Nuo we're talking. The surrounding marine pirates also looked incredible. The man who appeared suddenly defeated Rose, who was known as the Broken Rock Swordsman. How powerful rock-broken swordsman Rose is, the marine pirates present have a say. Needless to say, the pirates, as the vice captain of the pirate group, how could they convince the crowd without showing their strong strength? A marine was killed by the pirate Ross. The powerless posture shown during the battle is also reflected in the hearts of many marines. It's just that I didn't expect to be defeated by a man who seemed to have no impression at all. The figure of wantonly swaying tyrannical attacks on Rose deeply reflected in the hearts of those present. Therefore, even if the deputy captain is intercepted, the pirates dare not go up to rescue easily. And the same is true for the crowd hiding in the distance. They were also very shocked. The bounty offered by that Ross was 28 million Baileys, which is also a big shot for the people here. He didn't expect to be brutally killed by that adult. That's right. In their eyes, it was torture. The blood seemed to be soaring several meters away, and that crazy look made people feel sorry for him from such a distance. People can't help but sigh. How cruel. A few people who questioned before were also glad that they didn't talk too close at that time. Otherwise, such a cruel person might run over and give them a few claws after hearing it, which their small bodies can't bear. In the crowd, there are other outliers, that is, a few reporters. As journalists, they're also familiar with all kinds of powerful figures in this area. This kind of cruelty is nothing to them. What they're thinking about now is to make big news. The pink-haired man did not appear in their memory at all at this time. With this appearance, 28 million broken rock swordsmen were killed. Now it looks like it's still on par with that mad dog. Now, they can only pray that the other party will not die so easily. Otherwise, no matter how strong it is, the dead will not have much spread. On the other side, Mel also looked at the image in front of him. Mad Dog, he has a little impression of this pirate. After all, he still reads a lot of newspapers. Pirates with more than 50 million Baileys, especially zone ability users with thick skin and thick flesh, is still a bit reluctant for the two-faced Sunua. His attack is still a bit weak, even if he can fully mobilize the strength of most of the muscles in his body. But it doesn't work if the foundation is too poor, and physical strength is also a problem. And in general, the stronger the person, the higher the degree of control over the body. It is too good to want to try to dominate the other party in this respect. Besides this pirate, there are other pirates and marine around. Those marines obviously want to enjoy the benefits of fishing, and they don't even rule out the possibility of other support. However, these two-faced Nuo, I probably won't consider that much. Extreme challenges are like breathing to him. That guy probably enjoys it, but Mel couldn't ignore it. At present, the dead clone can indeed be resurrected, but it takes a year. Unless there are special circumstances, Mel can't ignore the clone and die. Therefore, he could only hang up on him. He opened the 2 panels of Suna. The above prestige value is worth more than 700. This prestige is already quite a lot. Prestige is the most important way to increase the combat power of clones. Among them, attribute D needs 100 to increase D+. D+ needs 500 to increase C. C needs 1,000 to increase C+. C+ needs 5,000 to increase B. And so on, simple and clear. As for the ability skill, it is 1,000 when D is upgraded to C, and 1,000 when C is upgraded to B, and so on. It is worth mentioning that there is no D+, C+, or the like in ability skills. Currently, these 700-odd prestige points are not enough for abilities and skills. You can only upgrade attributes. It costs 100 to increase the power of the two-faced Nuo from D to D+. Then upgrade the agility D+ to C and spend 500. After one operation is done, the panel of the two-sided Su Nuo also looks a little bit. Doppelganger, two-faced Su Nuo strength, D+ physique, D+ agile, C spirit, C abilities, ultimate balance, level C, reverse spell, level C, son of the wind, level C, skills, observation hockey, class C, physique, class D, reputation, 102 note, D. Attributes of ordinary people in the current world looking at the panels of Su Nuo on both sides It is no problem to defeat that mad dog with such a panel. It's just that everything is not going well, and his physique is still a problem. Physique contains physical strength. Fighting requires physical strength, and the use of abilities and skills also requires physical strength. If there are too many Nuwa waves on both sides, there are also many crises. Garter Island Harbor Scene. Facing Rose's double-faced, ignoring his chatter. He felt the strength of his body muscles soar, and at the same time, his body's flexibility also improved a lot. It's like letting go of a heavy burden. This feeling, the corners of Su Nua's mouth curled up, and he thought of a better idea. Without saying a word, he sprinted towards Rose. And Ross was also very angry. It seemed that the other party didn't listen to him at all. Then let him teach him what is the law of the jungle and the strong respect. Chapter 8: The Pirate Nova is born, and the Blood Killer has two faces 2 days later. A newspaper and bounty began to be circulated around the world. The front page has an extremely bright red title. Big shock. A new pirate star is born. The Blood Killer has two faces. It roughly tells about a pink-haired man who made his debut for the first time. His name is Two-Face Su Nua. The Mad Dog Pirates confronted him, and all members were defeated. With his bloody fighting style, he earned the nickname Blood Killer. The first appearance was rewarded by Marine, and the reward amount was as high as 48 million Baileys. Blood Killer? This nickname is really ugly. On Nine Snake Island, Mel took the newspaper and saw the conspicuous nickname Blood Killer at a glance. After taking down the newspaper, Mel touched the head of a news bird in front of him and said, "Thank you, little guy." Then he took out 1,000 Baileys and handed it to him. At the same time, take jerky from a bag on a rack and feed it. Seeing its happy appearance, Mel also smiled. Newsbirds generally do not deliver newspapers to islands in the Calm Belt. It's not just that Calm Belt's islands are sparsely populated. At the same time, it is very strenuous for the newsbirds to fly in Calm Belt. Even if they are tired, they dare not rest casually on the sea surface. At the beginning, Mel wanted to keep abreast of the information of the outside world. It is also going out to sea to leave Calm Belt and come to the nearest island to Hydra Island, then bribe the newsbird who delivered the newspaper there. As long as you come to him to sell newspapers, the price can be increased by 10 times. Not only that, but you can also enjoy various delicacies. For this reason, Mel also set up a newspaper corner on Nine Snake Island. They can sell newspapers exclusively there. Under normal circumstances, the person in charge there will buy a few copies and send a copy to several groups on Geosnake Island and archive one copy. Newsbirds are a group of birds with extremely high spirituality. Naturally, it can also be bought. Especially the people I see every day are of all kinds. Among them, there are many with bad faces and sometimes even bird hunting. Compared with those other people, Mel's approach seems to treat them as human beings. So many of these newsbirds are willing to come to Nine Snakes Island. And these current emperors of Nine Snake Island, Mishur, also agreed. After all, Nine Snake Island is located in the Calm Belt and is closed to outside information. Now it is easy to get news and only consume negligible money and food. This is a very cost-effective deal for the countries on Nine Snake Island. Mel continued to focus on the newspaper in his hand. Has the news about Marine's defeat been erased? It's really the style of Marine or world government. He meditated silently. He also watched the whole follow-up battle of Su Nua 2 days ago. In subsequent battles, sure enough, the two-faced Su Nua started to make trouble. After using the Son of the Wind and the Color of Knowledge to play with Ross. Just let Marine Commodore, who was watching not far away, go together. Obviously, one person can no longer make him enjoy himself. But pirates and Marine team up to deal with one person, especially when there are reporters not far away. That Marine Commodore is equally unacceptable. Even if he is attacking 2 people at the same time, it is impossible to join forces with the pirates. But in the end, he gave in. Two-faced Su Nua threatened with his men, and that Marine Commodore was obviously not a cold-blooded person. Of course, this is the case. Naval headquarters will certainly not allow it to be made public. Marine actually teamed up with the pirates to deal with the same person. In the end, It was a disastrous defeat, and the bloodthirsty man's reputation was achieved through the sacrifices of both parties. Such news will certainly strike at Marine's justice. I am afraid that the world government will not ignore this situation. So under the influence of these two behemoths, it is understandable for the World Economic News to sell face. Mel shook his head and didn't think so much. He opened the panels on both sides. The reputation of the two-faced Nuwa is rising. Now it has reached more than 36,000, and the follow-up prestige is still rising. Although the indirect spread prestige acquisition efficiency of non-first witness scenes is indeed very low, but can't stand the large amount. There's still many people in this world who like to read newspapers, especially pirates, marines, underground world, and other forces are very concerned about the issue of reward orders. Therefore, the prestige value obtained is indeed very high. Now 36,000 prestige points are enough for the two-faced Nuwa to be reborn. Mel opened the two-sided Su Nuwa panel. He was going to give him another boost in combat power with the release of this reward. Maybe Marine will send people to hunt down Liangmian Su Nuwa. With the double face style of Su Nuwa, he certainly won't back down so easily. At least go up and touch it. It's hard to tell if it's really a fight. If there is a vice admiral, he may not even be able to run. The basic gap is too big. No matter how tricky the operation is, you have to kneel. And the two-faced Su Nuwa is just one person, not even the pirates. With his personality, I am afraid that he will not form a pirate group, and he can only rely on himself for everything. Therefore, it is enough to continuously improve the combat power of the two-faced Su Nuwa to exceed Marine's expectations. Mel studied the attributes of the two-faced Nuwa. First, he raised the skill of ultimate balance to level B, which cost 10,000 reputation points. Seeing that the spiritual attributes remained unchanged, Mel raised observation haki to B level again, spending another 10,000 reputation points. This time the mental attribute has changed from C to C+. This time Mel nodded. By improving skills and abilities to indirectly improve attributes, you can save some reputation points. Although the savings are not much, but you can save as much as you can. Mel raised the remaining reputation to Zonda again. This time the agility of the attribute has also changed from C to C+. There are more than 6,000 reputations left, and 1,000 was spent on physical skills to upgrade it to C level. Immediately, he spent 3,000 to improve his strength and physique from D+ to C+. And the rest of the prestige could not continue to improve. And at this time, the panel of the two-faced Su Nuwa also took on a new look. Doppelganger, two-faced Su Nuwa, strength, C+ physique, C+ agile, C+ spirit, C+ abilities, ultimate balance, class B, Zonda, class B, reversal of spells, class C, skills, observation haki, class B, physique, class C, reputation, 2125 note. D. Attributes of ordinary people in the current world. This attribute matches his skill ability, so it is still possible to compete with ordinary Marine Vice Admiral. The Marine Vice Admiral attributes of ordinary physique experts are probably in the B-level range. He is also proficient in two-color haki, 6 forms of body art, and swordsmanship is excellent for those who use swords. It's not bad to be able to fight against them. At that level, fighting is no longer a small fight. Attacks, such as cutting off hills and smashing warships are common, has been completely out of the category of normal people. In the eyes of ordinary people, it is no different from a monster, and the two-faced Su Nuwa has reached the level where he can compete with them only a few days after his birth. It can be said that it is just like hanging up, and the future will follow him to do things. His power will continue to rise rapidly. Chapter 9, Sora's Premonition. The Shock of the World, the first half of the Grand Line. Naval Headquarters, Marineford. Marshal Marine holds a freshly baked newspaper in his empty hand. His expression was a little dignified. Nuwa on both sides. Look at the ferocious appearance of the wanton smile on the photo. Just the face in the picture. Sora can feel this man's lawless character and special temperament. Such people are often not simple. It reminded him of a man. Originally, pirates, which offered a bounty of tens of millions, would not have paid much attention to it. But this time the nature is quite special, The dignified headquarters Marine Commodore was coerced to fight him with the pirates. In the end, he was still defeated. Not only that, all the Marine pirates present were not spared, and there were countless casualties. This time, naval headquarters and world government used manpower to falsify the news, especially the involvement of world government. So Sora paid attention to this new pirate. At this time in space, he looked at the newspaper and pondered for a moment, then called the adjutant. He is going to let a powerful force send Marine Rear Admiral to hunt down this two-faced Nuwa. As a space that has experienced 3 eras, from the era when pirates were not very difficult to the era of rocks and today's era of great pirates, he has experienced various storms along the way. He has seen all kinds of people, and his eyesight is extremely vicious. He knew very well that many big pirates often had their first clues when they were young. And the behavior of the man in this reward order and a certain characteristic in the reward order are very in line with his intuition. He had a hunch that if he couldn't stop it in time, this man might become a difficult big pirate in the future. So if you can, it's better to hunt him down and send him to impel down as soon as possible. The first half of the Grand Line, Sabeti Archipelago, Shaki's Drum Barbar, the right hand of One Piece, the big man known as Pluton, lives in seclusion here, and his name is Silver Rayleigh. At this moment, Rayleigh held the newspaper and read it with relish. The era of great pirates has come, and now the pirates may have a new supernova. Rayleigh put the newspaper down and took a drink from the bar table. I can feel that this boy is not simple. Shaki next to her held a lady's cigarette in her right hand. She took a puff of the cigarette gracefully and then smiled. The initial bounty of 48 million Baileys is really high, and he actually coerced Marine and pirates to join forces. He seems to be a fighting maniac. Rayleigh nodded, a small smile on his lips. No matter what, the seedlings of a new era are starting to grow, which is worth celebrating. He filled his glass, toasted Shaki, and drank it down again. The second half of the Grand Line, all areas of New World. In this stormy sea, the strong pirates walk everywhere. The news and rewards of the two-faced Su-Nuwa did not cause any waves. For residents of New World countries, other sea areas outside the New World are often too far away, and even a giant like Marine is somewhat powerless for this place. So a pirate in the first half of the Grand Line is still a bit far away for them. Nothing real. And for the pirates of New World, even the first half of the Grand Line is dubbed a paradise by them. It's here. Hockey is the unimpeded pass, and they naturally have a sense of superiority to the pirates outside the New World. Think it's just a joke. Even those supernovas who have hundreds of millions of rewards and have not yet grown up, they look down on them. Not to mention a kid who suddenly appeared with a reward of tens of millions. Alone, without even a decent pirate flag, they also don't care about this kind of single pirate. Most of them just glanced at the reward and passed it, and then it was just for laughs. However, in the first half of Four Seas and Grand Line, many people who follow the newspapers began to be shocked by the appearance of the two-faced Su-Nuwa. The reward of tens of millions of Baileys may not be much for Grand Line, but for Four Seas, it was already a very high reward amount. Thankfully, the man showed up directly at the Grand Line as soon as he showed up. Many people began to rejoice. It's because his reward order looks too vicious. At the same time, his reputation as a blood killer began to spread. The first half of the Grand Line, in a sea area. On a pirate ship, more than 40 pirates are working with trepidation. Work hard to get to the next island. They're the remnants of the Leto pirates and some other pirates. The captain of the Leto pirates offers a bounty of 38 million Baileys, but the current Captain Leto is gone, killed directly by a cruel guy. If it wasn't for that man who needed to sail the boat, I'm afraid everyone else would have to go to hell with him. So they can't help but not be afraid. In the room of the pirate ship, a man with pink hair was leaning on a chair. The newspaper and the reward order spread out on the table. The photo inside is exactly the man named Ryomen Sukuna. Blood killer, the Marines in this world are so boring. They even have such ugly nicknames. Sukuna on both sides put his right hand on his chin casually, and the corner of his mouth cracked. At this moment, he felt the power in his body far surpassing before. Now he wished that Marine would send some strong men over to fight him. Hope, The next Marine won't disappoint me too much. The two-faced Sunua's face was hidden in the shadows. Chapter 10 Auction. The man who captured the palace 2 weeks later. A prosperous island in the first half of the Grand Line. In an auction on a commercial street. Auctions of various luxury items are in progress at this time. The items to be auctioned next will shock everyone's attention. A man with the appearance of a profiteer held a microphone and raised the atmosphere loudly. I saw a maid bring up a wooden tray covered with a red cloth and put it on the auction stage, under the curious eyes of everyone in the auditorium of the auction venue. The auction host pulled the red cloth away. I saw a strange fruit with a strange pattern lying quietly in it. That is the rare treasure in the sea, devil fruit. Following the auction host's voice, it fell. All the audience is also boiling up. It turned out to be devil fruit. That's right, I didn't quite believe the rumors that there will be treasures like devil fruit in this auction, but I didn't expect it to be true. This is a treasure worth more than 100 million berries. I didn't expect to see it in my lifetime. The host on the auction stage saw that everyone in the auditorium was looking at the devil fruit on the stage eagerly. He also smiled very proudly. This auction is run by a big force in the underground world, and the auction has just been completed. In order to be famous, the owner spent a lot of effort to get this devil fruit. It's unclear what type of fruit this devil fruit is. It may be Zoan, it may be Paramecia, or even it may be Logia. Following the host's guidance, everyone's hearts became hotter. Compared with 4Cs, people in the first half of the Grand Line have a clearer understanding of devil fruit. This is the area where naval headquarters power projection is strongest. Rumor has it that the 3 marine monsters, Vice Admiral, are all Logia capable. So people here generally equate Logia with superpowers. If you can buy Logia here, your status will rise to the sky in one step. The host is also very happy to see the eyes of the people under the stage flicker. In fact, this devil fruit has already been identified, and is an ordinary Zoan golden monkey fruit. Although it can't be said to be bad, it is almost meaningless to want to arouse the enthusiasm of everyone. After all, devil fruit also has side effects. Side effects such as inability to swim and inability to touch the sea if the fruit ability is not so outstanding. Those who can afford it may not be so enthusiastic. So if it is said that it has not been identified, then everyone will have hope. Let's not talk nonsense. The starting price of this devil fruit is 100 million Baileys, and each time the bid is increased by no less than 1 million Baileys. Start now. As his voice fell, the people in the audience were silent for a moment, and then began to bid enthusiastically. 110 million Baileys, 120 million Baileys, 123 million Baileys, 220 million Baileys. As the price climbed to this point, it gradually stagnated. After all, for those who don't know, it's hard to say what ability this unknown fruit has. If you really spend a lot of money to buy it back and find out that it is a tasteless ability, I'm afraid you will vomit blood. And there are pirates in the auditorium showing their majestic faces. The people here are really rich. There are many nobles and rich people in the country on this island to attend this auction. Even Marine came over because of this. As pirates, the money they plunder has always been spent lavishly. Even the captains of these pirates have difficulty storing so many Baileys. If it weren't for the strong background of this auction house, Marine was even invited to the scene. These lawless pirates have already started to rob. 300 million Baileys. A voice came from the corner of the auditorium. Everyone looked over when they heard the price. At this moment, cold sweat flowed from someone's forehead. Pirate supernova blood killer double-faced Su Nua, offering a reward of 310 million Baileys. He is here. A pirate purred the saliva in his throat and whispered in shock. Those who kill with blood will live on both sides. The newspapers published 2 weeks ago made him known to the world for the first time. But that's not all. In just 2 weeks, he directly captured the palaces of the 2 kingdoms by himself. Even the naval headquarters rear admiral and its fleet that went to rescue were easily defeated. The amount of the reward directly increased twice, from 48 million Baileys to 85 million Baileys. Then it quickly increased to 310 million Pele. It was quickly spread by News Economic Daily in an expedited manner. In the world impression, he is an extremely vicious and lawless representative of pirates. This kind of continuous capture of the royal palaces of allied countries is rare. The world government is hindered by the demands of joining the king's family, and they themselves will not allow the pirates to be so lawless. After all, if it is not contained in time, it will undoubtedly set an example for other pirates. This is something that the world government will never allow. As long as someone dares to do this, there will be an extremely powerful counterattack. But the man in front of him did just that. Whether it is due to arrogance or viciousness of character is unknown to others. She could only look up at him in awe. Chapter 11. Be quiet. Idiots, double-faced Sunua. He is a double-faced Sunua. As someone yelled, many people panicked, especially those nobles. The man captured the palace of a kingdom in the last two appearances. This time he appeared in the country. Maybe it's just the attention of coming to fight the palace. Marine, arrest him quickly. A nobleman in a seat saw Marine not far away, as if grasping at straws. And his shout also made many people's eyes focus on the Marines in the audience seats. Marine, who was called out at this time, saw the people around him turn their eyes towards them. He also looked bitter. His name is Kaga, and he is a commodore from naval headquarters. He can't wait to strangle that nobleman to death right now. How could he not know about that newly rising vicious pirate? As commodore of naval headquarters, he knows better. Nearly 1,000 Marines were led by a veteran rear admiral 3 days ago with several Marine ships. Still easily defeated, now he is only leading 200 or 300 people to maintain law and order here. And his strength is no better than rear admiral, which makes him take the lead. He winked at the adjutant next to him. The adjutant immediately nodded and left the auction. For now, we can only call rescue. Feeling the complexity of the surrounding area, Sunua slightly frowned. Be quiet, fools. As the words fell, a bloody and terrifying aura enveloped the auditorium. Everyone looked at him in horror, as if he was being strangled by the neck. They seemed to see a bloody demon. At this moment, there was a thought circling in their hearts, and it really deserved their reputation. Just feeling his breath, a very terrifying feeling came to my heart. It's no wonder that he was a powerful thug who captured the palace alone. Seeing the surroundings quiet down, Ryomen Sukuna stood up from his seat, walked towards the auction stage. Clatter, clatter, clatter. There were crisp footsteps on the smooth floor. Everyone stared at the figure anxiously. The auction host felt the man's shadow hanging over him, getting closer and closer to myself. His throat swallowed. Hastily picked up the box with devil fruit next to it. Passed it to the two-faced Sunua, who came to him, at the same time, with a flattering smile on his face. Master Liang Sunua, this is your devil fruit. Without saying a word, Sunua closed the box handed over and accepted it, then walked towards the passage leading to the door. Seeing his back as he was about to leave, the host couldn't help but stop. Master Liang Sunua, well, the 300 million Baileys you mentioned haven't been paid yet. The auction organized by Red Coffin, a well-known organization in the underground world. Its impact is huge, but that's what it is, and losing a devil fruit like that screwed up the auction. Then his fate probably won't be much better, so he could only remind the man in front of him with trepidation. Hopefully the man will live up to his stated bid price. The back figure was stopped by the host's voice. Everyone's heart couldn't help but lift up. The man turned his head slowly. Pay with your lives. Do you think that's enough? Hearing this, the host's cold sweat flowed directly from his forehead. He felt bitter in his heart, but he could only nod wildly like a chicken nodding. Ahaha. You were joking, Mr. Two-Face Sunua. You continue. It was just a joke just now. I won't bother you here. What a joke. There's a difference between dying now and dying later. At this moment, he couldn't say anything more in this situation. He suspected that if he said a few more words, this ruthless man who dared to keep attacking the king's palace could make his head move. Following the host's words, Sunua sneered a few times. Then, under the watchful eyes of everyone, he walked outside. Until the man has completely walked out, everyone breathed a sigh of relief. The person who spoke just now was the life of everyone present. Such arrogance, but still no one dares to question that person will know the oppressive power of that person. At this time, as the person left, the entire venue began to boil. Haha, it's a good show now. Two-faced Su Nua actually appeared in this country. Maybe we can see him capture the palace. Yeah, maybe you can follow in and grab some treasures. Some pirates in the auditorium were also gloating. Today they saw how rich these nobles and rich men are. If only he could follow in and get a share of the chaos. You might get rich. What should I do? What should I do? That murderous guy actually appeared here. You Marines should hurry up and stop it. Our country's gold is not paid for nothing. At this time, a nobleman came to Marine immediately after the man left and yelled at Marine. He is one of the royal families in this country, and he has been quiet just now for fear of attracting that man's attention. Now that guy leaves, he's pointing at Marine Commodore's nose on the field and yelling right away. You can't do anything close to this. What's the use of your Marine? Marine Commodore looked at the obese nobleman in front of him, wearing gold and silver. There's also a fire in my heart. The pirate didn't even dare to fart here just now. Now as soon as people leave, they dare to show off in front of him. Really an unspeakable emotion filled his heart. Chapter 12 Sora's determination. Kizaru dispatched, understood, I'll apply for support right away. Marine Commodore endured the anger in his heart and said without changing his face. Then he ignored him and led the people away to a quieter corner. Then he started to call Naval Headquarters phone bug and only put down the phone bug after clarifying the specific situation. Immediately, he led his men to follow the man. If that man planned to capture the palace again, even if the enemy was strong, they, as Marines, would not be able to turn a blind eye. The other side, Naval Headquarters Marine Fort. Marine Admiral Sora also received the report from the adjutant. Marshal Sora, Gavro Vice Admiral, who is currently on mission near the Kingdom of Genie, has gone to support him. Should be able to intercept that man in time. Gavro, that guy is now 58 years old. Strength is at its peak. I didn't expect that the kid who was still running behind was already this age. Time flies. In a blink of an eye, we came to the present. Sora felt a little dazed. After a moment, he nodded and waved the adjutant away. As the room fell silent. At this time in space, a reward order was drawn from a grid. A pink-haired man smiled wantonly, his fingers still stained with blood. It is the reward order of the two-faced Su Nua. Looking at the portrait on the table, Sora was speechless for a long time. He didn't expect that there were only tens of millions of pirates 2 weeks ago to make such a commotion in a short period of time. So much so that the world government was alarmed. Let him deal with this person as soon as possible to appease the franchise countries. If this man keeps attacking the royal palace of the franchise country, the chain reaction will be huge and the consequences will be disastrous. Of course, these can only show the lawlessness of this man at best. For empty terms, what surprised him the most about this person was the speed at which his strength improved. Report on him 2 weeks ago. Let Kong stay close to Naval Headquarters Rear Admiral's level against him. Because, judging from the report, that man was able to defeat the combination of Marine Commodore and the pirates with a bounty of more than 50 million. It's all about tenacity. It is not necessarily true that he is much stronger than them. That's why he sent a powerful Rear Admiral to hunt him down. It's just that the Rear Admiral sent was completely defeated a few days ago. According to the intelligence at the scene, that battle can already be described as crushing. Even if that Rear Admiral has mastered knowledge color and armament hockey, and is also proficient in 6 styles, but still being ruthlessly defeated. The armed color just made him more resistant to beatings and persisted for a little longer. Together with the nearly 1,000 Marines who were besieged, they also suffered heavy losses. Undoubtedly, that man has already possessed a very strong strength, and I am afraid that the ordinary Vice Admiral will not be able to deal with him or even be defeated by him. Although Gavro is already considered very elite in the current Vice Admiral, at the same time, his physical fitness is at his final peak, and he should be able to arrest him with other Marines. But he is still a little worried. Those powerful big pirates always have a unique quality that can save them from danger. At this moment, his eyes flickered, and he made up his mind. So did a phone bug on the table. After a while, the phone bug was connected. Moses, is it Marshal Kong? Is there something important to call me at this time? I saw the phone bug imitating a man in yellow sunglasses vividly, with a slow tone of voice. Poor Salino, there's an urgent task for you to complete now. Sora rushed to the phone and said, then explained the basic situation. Marshal Kong, it's not that I don't want to go there, but now I'm also chasing a tricky pirate, a pirate with hundreds of millions of Baileys. It's very tricky. Now it's time for a quick net. You can't just leave like this. Listening to the task given to him by Marshal Sora, Kizaru replied slowly. On the other side, the adjutant next to Kizaru listened to Kizaru's reply. I can't help complaining in my heart. If it weren't for you always taking it easy, that pirate has already been sent to impel down. What's tricky? No matter how tricky it is, it's not about your 1 or 2 flashes. In naval headquarters, Sora couldn't help but feel a black thread when he heard Kizaru's reply. How could he not know what kind of SX this guy is? Let's put down your current task for now and complete this new task first, and I will give you a first-class credit. Hearing Marshal Sora's promise, Kizaru gained a little motivation, but still said, but the mission location is very far away, thousands of kilometers away. It will be a few days before I drive the warship there. I can't catch up at all. That's why I called you on this mission. Sora said seriously. This time you go directly by yourself, and there is no problem in arriving in a short time at your speed. Hearing Sora's reply, Kizaru also frowned a little, although he is a sparkling fruit-capable user. But at his speed, under normal conditions, if he really wants to fly, it will take him an hour for thousands of kilometers. If possible, he didn't want to hang in the sky and fly for so long. Kong looked at the phone bug in silence for a while, feeling tired. It would be nice if this guy Polysolino had half the enthusiasm of Sakazuki. If it's Sakazuki, I'm afraid he will take orders without saying a word. Poor Solino, this task is complete, and your application for paid leave will be granted for 1 week. At this time, Kong could only say helplessly, Marshal Kong, I am obliged to do this mission. Let go right away. Hearing Sora's promise, Kizaru responded extraordinarily neatly this time. Soon, the phone bug hangs up. Sora looked at the phone bug and shook his head, but he finally felt relieved. Although the process was a bit tortuous, but with Polysolino's participation, the operation was safe. Even if that man has wings, he won't be able to escape. Chapter 13, Sacrificial Space. The improvement of the combat power of the Two-Face Nil when Zakong arranged for Polysolino to go to support. Com Belt, Hydra Island. Mel is walking in the jungle with Michel. Sudden, Mel heard the cueing voice in his head. He stopped and smiled at Mezel. System Escher, let's do it this time. You can go back. I remember that there is something I haven't finished yet. Hearing Mel's words, Melsa was stunned. Immediately, he reached out and brushed the wind-blown hair behind his ears. Nodding her head, a beautiful smile appeared on her beautiful face. These days, Mel no longer focuses on exercising, but spends more and more time on Hydra Island. At the same time, I spent more and more time with her. She is very satisfied with such days. How can it be willful? The two walk side by side, silently, towards the palace on Nine Snake Island. Mel's getting closer and closer to Mel as she goes forward. Fingers also touched his hand intentionally or unintentionally, and finally, she took his hand. Looking at Mezel beside her, whose face was more rosy than before, and who appeared to be more feminine, Mel also smiled. Holding her hand backhand, it feels very good, very soft and tender, as if there is no bone. Feeling his response, Messel turned to look at him in surprise. The palms of the hands are also held tightly. The sunlight intertwined the two of them so that the shadows stretched very long. After returning to the palace, Mel bids farewell to Meshal and then goes to a separate room. Sitting on the luxurious sofa, a devil fruit appeared in his hand. Zoan golden monkey fruit? That's right, this fruit was sacrificed by Ryomen Sukuna just now. The god-level avatar system has a sacrificial space. The items obtained by the avatar can enter the sacrifice space through sacrifice, and Mel can also take out the sacrificial items again. In the past 2 weeks, Sunua on both sides was looking for trouble besides rushing. And Mel will basically not interfere with his behavior. except asking him to find more devil fruit. Everything else is up to you. Two-Faced Su Nua's own character is doomed that he will not settle down. It's just that Mel didn't expect that he would keep attacking the palace of the kingdom in order to find the devil fruit. In other words, the Two-Faced Su Nua himself was on his way and then took the palace by the way. What he has done is nothing but the treasury of the kingdom. In the past 2 weeks, he captured the Two-Faced Su Nua twice in the palace and indeed got a devil fruit for it. In addition, many treasures and a good sharp knife were sacrificed. Mel doesn't have too many treasures. Liang Kuaidao is also a surprise. But these are of little importance for now. Mel opened the two-sided Su Nua panel. Now, after 2 promotions of rewards, Liangmian Su Nua became famous. The prestige value rose very quickly, and Mel also gave him 2 attribute upgrades. Now his attributes are all B+, and he spent a total of 60,000. At this time, Mel opens the 2 panels. Looking at the balance of prestige points on the panel, I was a little surprised. Has the prestige value exceeded 100,000? Rare. At this point, Mel is also a little happy. When the last upgrade was carried out yesterday, there was still 80,000 left. It seems that after a day, the news fermented a little more. But now it's better to buy that signature ability for the Two-Faced Su Nua. With Mel's thought, the devil fruit in his hand was recharged into the system, also worth 10,000 points. He found that the selling price of devil fruit is 10,000 no matter it is good or bad. Now, there are exactly 20,000 mall points in the Avatar Mall. Mel opened the Avatar Mall and then directly purchased the Crouching Demon Chef on it. The 20,000 yuan just happened to be spent, and then it was directly loaded on Liangmian Su Nua. It can be seen that this ability also appears in the ability column of the two-sided Su Nua panel, and the initial level has reached a level. And the spiritual attribute has also been increased, directly changing from B+ to A. It can be regarded as saving a fortune. Looking at the 2 panels of Su Nua, Mel thought for a while and finally added 100,000 reputation points to the ultimate balance. The ability of extreme balance is quite special. It improves the control over the body. As the strong become stronger, the degree of control over the body becomes higher and higher. But the extreme balance makes this characteristic to a very high level. This ability can improve the efficiency of the use of physical strength, whether it is used to crush people who are weaker than oneself or to fight against people who are stronger than oneself. They are all excellent abilities. Simply put, it is a good ability that is easy to abuse food and improve the conditions for turning over. And it can also help the Two-Faced Su Nua quickly control the surge in power. So it's a good option for an upgrade. With the completion of the upgrade, the new attribute list of the Two-Faced Su Nua is freshly released. Doppelganger, Two-Faced Su Nua Strength, B+ Physique, B+ Dexterity, B+ Spirit, A+ Abilities, Fumo Yuchuzi, A level, Ultimate Balance, A level, Wind Sun, B level, Reverse Spell, B level, Skills, Observation Haki, Class B, Physique, Class B, Reputation, 8125 Note. D. Attributes of ordinary people in the current world. The spiritual attribute has been improved again due to the balance of ultimate. Mel didn't expect to upgrade this ability this time, and it would be able to improve the mental attributes that had just been upgraded to A. It was a pleasant surprise. You must know that 100,000 reputation points are required to upgrade attribute A to A+. So this wave is considered white prostitution. Moreover, the activation of Fumo Yuchuzi's trump card focuses on mental attributes rather than physical strength, so it can be regarded as a lot of combat power. The other thing worth noting is the skill body art. It wasn't because of Mel's prestige that his body skills were upgraded from C level to B level. It was the Two-Faced Su Nua who was promoted by himself in the past 2 weeks. And all of this is closely related to Ultimate's ability to balance. Because of this ability's powerful control over the body, its bonus to the practice of body skills is also very large. This is also one of the reasons why Mel upgraded the ultimate balance. After nearly 2 weeks, the Two-Faced Su Nua is also digesting the physical skills of the first battle with Mel. Finally, I met Marine Rear Admiral, who was sent by Marine to receive Grandmaster Physical Skill 6 styles. Relying on the ultimate balance, he perfectly reproduced the opponent's 6 styles, and after mastering them, two-faced Su Nuwa's physical skills have also been upgraded to B level. If possible, Mel hopes that the two-faced Su Nuwa can use the ultimate balance as a basis to improve the level of physical skills by himself. Save some if you can. Close the panels on both sides. Mel walked over to the window, looking at the beauty of the various palaces and Merrill Lynch outside. But I was thinking in my heart, now the combat power of the two-faced Su Nuwa has been raised to a very high level, relying on the powerful lethality that Fumo Yuchuzi can exert. Facing Marine's veteran Vice Admiral is also a crazy crush. I don't know how Marine will respond. After all, the current double-faced Nuwa is indeed a bit big. I'm afraid neither the world government nor the Marine will let it go. But it shouldn't be the time to dispatch Admiral. As long as it's not Admiral, it shouldn't be a big problem for him to want to run. Chapter 14, Do You Want to Die? Tempest Kick Railwind the Other Side. Grand Line, Kingdom of Genie. As the news of the arrival of the two-faced Su Nuwa spread from the auction house, the nearby residential streets also began to be shocked. Didn't expect recent news figures to visit their country, and the news was rushed to the palace. The royal family and ministers on the other side of the palace were also in chaos. Hastily asked for help from a Marine and world government. They did get a reply from the support team, which made them feel a little less anxious. And the man who disturbed them was walking slowly towards the royal palace of this country. It felt like coming for a sightseeing trip. Only those who know about his recent evil deeds will understand what this man is planning to do. In different directions from the distance behind the two-faced Su Nuwa, many people followed from afar. In addition to some pirates who are afraid of chaos, there are also people from the underground world of this island, Marines, reporters, and so on, especially journalists. Hearing the arrival of the two-faced Su Nuwa is like a cat smelling fishy. They came here one after another. After all, during the recent period, the two-faced Nuwa is the flow of news. It's hard not to draw attention. And the Marine side. But I saw Su Nuwa on both sides, rushing slowly to the palace. At this speed, maybe Vice Admiral, who came to support, can barely catch up, even if the noble ministers of this country are very anxious to remind. But Marine Commodore, who was leading Marine far behind the two-faced Su Nuwa, still had no intention of going directly to confront the two-faced Su Nuwa. At his level, he understands the horror of those powerful combat powers too well. Currently, the number of Marines gathered on the island is no more than 300. If you really go up to block it, you will easily die. Therefore, he planned to wait for the arrival of reinforcements. Unless the two-faced Su Nuwa has already started to attack the palace, he plans to delay it like this. Time moves slowly. As Ryomen Su Nuwa got closer and closer to the palace, he almost came to the palace. Already able to faintly see the guards on the other side of the palace, and they're also making preparations there. Is that man still planning to attack the palace? Marine's Kaya Commodore finally couldn't sit still. Marine Vice Admiral's support had begun to approach, and now it was time for him to stall. At this moment, he led the somewhat frightened Marines towards the man. Then they will surround him with guns raised. Stop! Two-faced Su Nuwa, stop your footsteps. Capture with bare hands. Kaya Commodore stepped out from the separated Marine ranks, his white cloak fluttering in the wind. It looks quite majestic, and the guard at the palace felt a little relieved when they saw Marine coming to support them. To tell the truth, he is about to face that ferocious pirate supernova. The Kingdom Guards, who are relatively stable on weekdays, are also flustered, because this island is relatively close to the base of the Marine branch. So even if there are pirates, they will not be too daring, and the guards are usually relatively comfortable. Suddenly facing this kind of ruthless person who dared to attack the palace and succeeded twice. They were also in a panic when Marine support arrived. At least it can make them less stressed. At this moment, Su Nuwa on both sides also stopped. Is the little mouse following behind finally willing to come out? He casually looked at Marine's Commodore next to him. It's just this kind of strength. He stared at the leader Marine Commodore and said, "Do you want to die?" The reason why Su Nuwa on both sides walked so slowly was not only his own personality. I also want to wait for Marine support. The Marine Rear Admiral made him a little bit happier last time. He was very interested in his refined 6 physical exercises. And armament hockey also gradually felt a little clue. After the last show of strength, Marine will definitely dispatch a more powerful Marine. For the powerhouses of Marine, the two-faced Sunua has a strong interest. In Marine Kaga Commodore side, after hearing the words of the person in front of him, there was a trace of cold sweat on his forehead. How powerful this person is, he had a rough grasp of it at the auction. That is as powerful as a Shura-like aura. The involuntary fear in his heart is about to fight him now. He also has sympathy in his heart. It's just that he can't regress now. He needs to buy time. Double-faced Sunua, you have committed such an evil deed. Go to impel down and repent. Justice will not back down. Neither will I back down. Hearing the Marine in front of him say this, two-faced Sunua couldn't help laughing. He walked on. If you want to stop me, do what you can. Marine. And Kajia looked at Sunua on both sides and continued to move forward, but he was helpless. He tried to delay with words, but the man in front of him was obviously not the kind of talkative person. No choice but to go up. He pulled down the cloak at the back and signaled the other surrounded people to go aside. Based on previous intelligence, guns have little effect on the person in front of them. The difference in strength is too large, and it is difficult for ordinary guns to play a role. And as long as they shoot, the people in front of them will definitely fight back cruelly. The name Blood Killer is not for nothing. There were thousands of guard patrols in the first 2 victimized kingdoms, but he was directly killed and defeated. The monster in front of him could no longer be explained by common sense. If you want to move forward, pass me first. Kajia shaved and disappeared in place. When it reappeared, it was already behind the two-faced Sunua. Tempest kick raging wind, several invisible and sharp-chopping waves slashed directly at Sunua on both sides. As the outstanding graduate of the Naval Headquarters Marine Military Academy, Kaya is not the kind of person who just waits to die. It specializes in the 3 closely related 6 styles of shave, moonwalk, and tempest kick. It got good grades. Therefore, he was among the best among the students in the Marine Military Academy of that year. At his age, as long as he doesn't die young, the future of Vice Admiral is hard to say, but becoming Rear Admiral is still safe. Chapter 15, who are you going to beat? Unforgivable. Two-faced note with the back facing the Marine Kaya Commodore. Feeling several invisible slashes from behind, he dodged at will. Dodged these slashes directly. Boom! The slash directly landed on the wall of the palace not far away, cutting a series of cracks directly on it. Stones splashed all over the wall, and the sound was also booming. The guards inside the city wall also looked at the Marine in shock. That person was able to kick such a powerful attack with his feet. Simply inhuman. When the guards were shocked, Suno on both sides looked back at Kajia. The corner of his mouth cracked. The next moment, he appeared directly in front of Kaga. Zulfast. At this time, Kajia only felt a blink of an eye, and the two-faced Suno, who was still facing away from him, came to him and looked at him directly. Did you just shave? Don't wait for his mind to continue to ask questions. His pupils shrank sharply. Sunu on both sides grabbed Kajia's collar with his right hand and pulled him over, then let go when Kajia lost his balance. One side of the fist will slanted upwards and hammered hard at Kaga's side face. Wow! Kaga's blood spattered from his mouth. Bright red blood drops drifted in the air like rubies. Before he could calm down, the two-faced Sunua was already smiling wantonly like a villain. Grab his collar again and throw it into the air. Kaga felt as if he was flying in the air. A figure that was getting closer and closer came into view. Six styles are playing well. He only heard such a sentence, and then a foot kicked him hard in the abdomen, like a cannonball. Kajia burst directly onto the city wall. Boom, boom, boom. The solid city wall was hit by this sudden figure. There was a deafening sound. Then it collapsed directly, and the rubble was scattered everywhere. At the same time, stone dust drifted in the air. Monster! Monster! That man is a monster! Impossible to win. Impossible for us to win. At this time, a guard who had witnessed everything couldn't help shouting. The spear weapon in his hand fell to the ground involuntarily, and his footsteps kept retreating, because that demonic figure had landed on the city wall. The other guard were also shaken when they heard his words. Don't shake the morale of the army. At this critical moment, a general of the guard army stepped forward directly. A sword directly cut a huge wound on the soldier who had shaken the morale of the army. Then he said loudly towards the retreating soldiers, "Defend the royal family and nobles. This is our mission. We must not back down. We must defeat this pirate." But the soldiers looked at him with terror. It should be said to look behind him. The general's body couldn't help trembling. He turned his head and looked behind him like a machine. I saw that the man was already standing behind him. She was looking at him wantonly. "Say, who are you going to beat?" He heard the person in front of him speak like this. Me? It wasn't until he faced this man at such a close distance that the general felt a real fear take root in his heart. The tongue seems to be tied up and doesn't listen to it. Slightly, he clutched his neck. Streams of blood flowed out continuously, and the blood stained his hands. Wrong answer. Looking at the man in front of him who was slowly sliding to the ground, Ryomen Sukuna said expressionlessly, "People who can't even say a single sentence are not qualified to stand in front of him. Commander Jason is dead." At this time, a soldier nearby couldn't help but shouted. In the past, Commander Jason was known for his iron blood and strong strength in the guard army, and his reputation was very high in the guard army. However, facing that man, he died so casually. Like a weed, it was harvested at will. Such a scene caused many soldiers to back up again and again. Don't back down, no matter how strong he is. He's only one person. Marine's strong support is coming soon, and there are 3,000 people here, and he can't stand it together. A voice came from among the soldiers. I saw a general in iron armor start to speak. It's the deputy commander. Seeing that there was a leader, the soldiers felt a little more at ease. At the same time, I was sure of the strong support from Marine. Encouraged by the deputy commander, he began to rush towards Sukuna on both sides. After all, they're soldiers, not ordinary people. It is impossible to flee directly after the death of a commander. The number of people can always bring a great sense of security sometimes. He might be able to become the new commander of the guard army, so he must not fall here. When the guards and Marine go up to fight, Kaga, who fell in the ruins, also pushed away the stone on his body with difficulty, then slowly got up. Wow! After spitting out a mouthful of blood, he felt better. Although his body was seriously injured, he felt that he still had the strength to fight. Feeling the sound of rushing outside, Kaguya couldn't help speeding up his pace. It's Kaya Commodore! It's Kaya Commodore! With Kaga reappearing. People who originally felt strong fear due to the strong oppressive force of the two-faced Sukuna and the understatement of the murder method. At this time, hope was involuntarily ignited. Their strength is not high. But Kaya Commodore was still able to come back to fight after hard, catching 2 hits from the opponent. This means that the gap may not be that big. Perhaps can lead them to defeat the demons in front of them. At this time, Kaguya stood in front of the two-faced Sukuna again. He looked at the fallen people around him. He knew that many of those people were buried here forever. The person in front of him swung at the opponent's deadly part with every move. He seemed to be enjoying the feast of killing. One hand waved casually. There was an evil smile on his face, which made one's hair stand on end. Two-faced Nua. Unforgivable. Kaga rushed towards him. Chapter 16, The Arrival of Gavoro Vice Admiral. Fools have their places on the other side. Gavro led nearly 600 Marines and began to rush towards the island. He only brought a large warship, leaving some people behind to guard the warship. Go quickly to where the palace of the island is located. He didn't take very many people. On the one hand, it is confidence in one's own strength, and on the other hand, it is also because the manpower is not rich. Marine is also needed in many other places. Although what the two-faced Sukuna did was an evil deed, it was even more heinous in the eyes of the world government. But in Gavro's eyes, it was like other pirates plundering ordinary civilians. It is impossible for him to revoke Marines in other positions just because this is a royal noble. And the Marine he brought was also elite, which was enough. With Gavro speeding up, soon he came near the palace. I watched a lot of people fall to the ground, including many from Marine. Gavro felt his heart tremble. Fortunately, after inspection, many people survived. It just needs to be treated in time, otherwise it will still be life-threatening. Gavro also found the Marine Commodore Kaga, who led the Marine, inside. Bruised injuries. There was also a long and narrow wound directly on his upper body. The blood is still flowing. It's hard to say whether this situation can save your life. Looking at the young Marine, Gavro couldn't help but clenched his fists. He mobilized all the Marines. Take the survivors to the hospital on the island. Watching Marine mobilize, Gaffulo marched towards the palace with a handful of elites. As we moved forward, fewer and fewer people fell on the road. Obviously, either they retreated or they fled in defeat. This is normal. Face invincible enemies. In the case of heavy losses, fleeing is the norm. Going all the way. Finally, Gaffulo brought his men down to a palace in the palace. Resplendent decoration, luxurious throne. On the throne, a familiar figure sat on it. Is it finally here? Gavro heard him say so. The right elbow of Sunua on both sides rests on the armrest of the throne. The face of the fist is pressed against the side of the face. He looked down at the man below from high position, but he didn't pay attention to the others. The tall body, the swollen muscles seemed to contain infinite explosive power, the short haircut, and the gray hair. Feeling his aura, the two-faced Sunua couldn't help but nodded. This beast that looks like it's getting old. It's a good prey. Where is the king of this country? There are other royal families and ministers. Did you kill them? Looking at the person in the high seat, Gavro didn't go directly to fight, but asked calmly. Idiots have their place. That's it. Hearing the words of Sunua on both sides, Gaffulo didn't ask any more questions, but turned around and told others. He could feel the strength of the young man on the throne. This strength may not match the intelligence. Has it improved again? Obviously, the information has just been updated. Now he wants to defeat him. I am afraid it will take a lot of effort. I can only explain the precautions to my subordinates first. Gavoro Vice Admiral, stay safe. Hearing a word of concern from his subordinates, a smile appeared on his face. Then, with firm eyes, his subordinates walked up to the man with worried eyes. Bang, bang, bang. There was a muffled sound of footsteps on the red carpet on the stairs. With the voice stagnant, Gavro also walked in front of the throne. Young pirate, your sin is unforgivable. Go to impelled down and repent. Sunua on both sides was still sitting casually, as if turning a blind eye to Gaffulo standing in front of him. Anyone can say beautiful words. Try it if you can. He grinned at the corner of his mouth and continued. Also, I don't like people looking down on me. Yeah. Gavro looked down at the young man on the throne. Even if he has come to the front, but still unmoved. So arrogant, but so powerful. Really pity. It would be great if such a young man was Marine. Thinking back to this thought in my heart, but his body began to tense. The fist like a sandbag swung fiercely at the young man on the throne. Facing this sudden move, Sunua on both sides did not rush and directly caught the punch with one hand. Boom, boom, boom. Violent vibrations began to echo in the palace. Click, click. The throne, which was like a beautiful yellow jade, began to make a sound of being overwhelmed. A series of cracks also began to appear on it. What a power! The man sitting on the throne is still calm. Really? There are stronger ones. And Gaffulo also said calmly. The other hand wrapped around the powerful armament hockey and then slammed it forward. Boom! The powerful shock wave began to cause the surrounding bricks on the ground to fly directly towards the surroundings. Marine, who was still watching the battle, couldn't help raising his hand to block the windy bricks. Wait for the shock to pass. They looked at the center of the battle and couldn't help being stunned. That guy was able to completely resist the offensive of Gavro Vice Admiral. You must know that Gavro Vice Admiral once arrested more than 600 million big pirates in New World. Now it's actually in the first half of the Grand Line. It was blocked by a supernova with only more than 200 million. For these officers who have been with Gavoro all year round, this is extremely incredible. Battle Center. The throne here is gone. Gavoro watched as he used the powerful hockey's outward attack and was still caught by the opponent's palm. Also can't help feeling up. The opponent's hands use iron body-like techniques with exquisite body control. Obviously didn't use hockey, but still caught his attack. What a monster! Chapter 17, Return of Life. Internal shattering. Gavro stepped back. Two-Face Sunua also let go of his palms. Your strength is very good. I hope you can let me have a good time. He grinned and said. As his voice fell, he didn't wait for Gavalo to reply. It disappeared immediately. His speed. Jaiafilo's pupils shrank slightly, and the Two-Face Sunua had come to him. The palm of the hand moved towards his heart. When? The crisp sound resounded through the palace. I saw that Jaiafilo's upper body had been wrapped around armament hockey, tenaciously blocking the attack of the Two-Faced Nua. Really hard. Two-Faced Sunua couldn't help but get excited. Gavro also raised the fist wrapped around hockey and began to attack quickly. Marine present could see the afterimages of the two moving quickly around the palace. Sand and stones splashed everywhere. The deafening crash sounded nonstop. Tempest kicked steel break. A series of invisible slashes were kicked out by Gavro. The intensive slashing sealed the surrounding positions of the Two-Faced Sunua. And under this intensive attack, the Two-Faced Sunua escaped the attack through a small gap, like paper floating in the wind. Pedal. The powerful slash crossed the two sides of Sunua and cut several walls directly. Can you even know paper arts? Gaflo was a little shocked. It's just that the battle didn't allow him to continue to be shocked. So he quickly continued into the rhythm of the next round of battle. On the other hand, Marine, who was ordered by Gavro to explore the surroundings of the palace, also discovered the royal family. Fortunately, the royal family did not die, and the king is still there. It just looked terrified. Marine, is Marine support here? At this time, the king could not help but be overjoyed. He came to the lead Marine Commodore and said, "Why are you so slow? My treasure house is gone. It was stolen by that demon. Can you really defeat him?" The King of Fear is still not so relieved, even with the arrival of new Marine support. Fears that had just been faced before were not so easily dispelled. Facing the attacking demon at that time, a minister just said one more word and died in Huangquan. And the dissatisfied royal family also went directly to hell. As long as you say one more sentence, you will die directly, and there is no need to refute. In that case, too, the king was terrified. He had never felt death so close to him, so he said the information the other party wanted at the fastest speed in his life. Fortunately, the other party dismissed them and left after getting the news. To be honest, if it weren't for the fact that Marine said there was new support, he had already evacuated the palace first. King Genie, don't worry. Our vice admiral is already fighting that pirate. You better find a place to hide for a while. But before that, I hope you ask your guards to treat the wounded in the palace. Marine Commodore said seriously to the king of this country. Just now, other Marines discovered that pirates were looting other parts of the palace. Our side needs to go there and suppress it. I hope you can spare some people to take over from our wounded transporters. King Genie was not calm when he heard this. Quickly arrange for the captain of the guards to summon people to help. Now his treasury is lost. There are other pirates coming to take advantage of the fire, which is like a bolt from the blue to him. I can't wait to kill all those pirates who take advantage of the fire. The Marine Commodore also breathed a sigh of relief, seeing that the king in front of him could understand. He was most worried that the king and aristocrats were sick and instead came to embarrass Marine, since this is the best way to go smoothly. Then he looked at the largest palace with some concern. His most important task now is to gather the Marines and expel the nearby pirates who are taking advantage of the fire. Then go to help His Excellency Vice Admiral. At present, he has mobilized new Marines at the base and reported the situation here to Naval Headquarters. He didn't expect that even His Excellency Vice Admiral was not sure of victory. Even now, the Marines who came from the base don't know if it will be too late. He thought with some worry in his heart. Palace Center, life return red. I saw that Gavro's body seemed to be gushing with bloody steam. At this time, Gavro had already exerted his full strength. Getting into this state is physically taxing on him, so he needs to do it quickly. Bang, bang, bang. He kicked towards the ground. The figure that was already very fast is now even faster than thunder. The surrounding ground was lifted by the strong air pressure. Make a deafening noise. Marine, who was still on the sidelines, began to cover up again. In just a moment, Jaiafulo came to the front of Ryomen Sukuna. With powerful haki flowing from his fist, he blasted directly towards Sukuna on both sides. Two-Faced Sukuna raised his hand to catch the attack. Chick, chick, but even though he caught it this time, his entire arm made a tearing sound. Immediately after, blood began to ooze. Looking at the oozing blood, Sukuna also laughed. Marine often uses the top technique of 6 forms and Haki's internal crushing technique. Really interesting. Gafulo saw Sukuna on both sides and still took his attack hard. He was shocked. But on the surface, his face was expressionless, like a violent storm attacking Sukuna on both sides. Armament Haki also increases in strength as the amount increases. Its use skills are divided into 4 stages: hardening, winding, releasing, and crushing inside. Often people with strong haki will master more advanced skills. Due to this fact, many people associate haki strength with these techniques. But the truth is, even people with low haki intensity can make up for their shortcomings with diligence or have a certain understanding so as to master more advanced haki skills. Some countries with unique inheritance skills or countries with special blood have popularized haki among the people. And Gavro has followed a powerful elder brother since he was a child. His haki skills are naturally very good. It's just that he didn't expect that someone could forcibly block haki's internal crushing, which is a very superb skill, by relying on physical skills and body control. What a monster this man is. At this moment, he couldn't help sighing again. Chapter 18. Feel what fear is. Fumo Royal Cook with Gaflo, non-stop bombardment. Sukuna on both sides did not give in. Also back with a thunderous offensive. Bang, bang, bang. The shock wave of the fist collision and the loud, thunderous sound radiated outward. The whole palace began to shake. The remaining Marines in the palace covered their ears and watched the duel in disbelief. Unexpectedly, that man could not lose the wind even after Vice Admiral used all his strength. How can it be? Is this really a pirate who just debuted? Click, click. Vibrated by the strong sound, the palace seemed to resonate. The palace, which was originally damaged due to the battle, began to grow cracks along some cracked places. And the speed is getting faster and faster. The Marine who watched the battle quickly discovered this anomaly. Exit this palace quickly. This place is about to collapse. Among them, Marine Commodore, the leader, said loudly, "But, Your Excellency, Vice Admiral is still fighting." The rest of the people also responded loudly, so as to drown out the loud voices of the battle. "Leave first. Staying here is a burden. With the strength of Jaiafulo, Vice Admiral, the collapse here will not be a big problem. This Commodore does not intend to interfere with the Vice Admiral engagement. Going up rashly at this critical moment may distract him." Hearing what Marine Commodore said, the others hesitated to go out of the palace. And Marine Commodore took one last look at the scene and followed him out. Boom, boom, boom. Not long after they went out, the whole palace collapsed with a burst of roar. Smoke and dust began to sweep around. After a while, the whole place calmed down. Is there a winner? The Marines standing outside the palace watched the collapsed ruins and felt the cessation of the shaking. Can't help thinking. Thump! 2 loud bangs sounded at the same time, and 2 figures stood on the ruins at the same time. Gavro kept panting heavily, and his body began to groan, although the consumption is serious. But he looked at the two-faced Sukuna on the opposite side. The 2 arms of Sukuna on both sides were covered with blood. It seemed to lose its support and hang down. The Marines not far away also saw this scene. At this moment, they couldn't help being ecstatic in their hearts. Very good. They knew Gavro Vice Admiral couldn't lose. Now the pirate's arm looks crippled. In this case, no matter what, you can't lose. On both sides of the field, Sukuna looked at the hanging hands and felt that the bones inside were broken a lot. It's just that this is a small problem for him. The reversal technique is opened. The arm quickly returned to its active level. Now his inversion technique has reached level B, and the strength and speed of treatment are greater than before. This kind of injury will heal completely after a little more time. How is it possible that that kind of injury recovered so quickly? The other Marines were also dumbfounded seeing this scene. They didn't know much about the information about the two-faced Su Nua. Just know that he is a newly emerging supernova who is rising rapidly. As for any more, I didn't pay much attention. In fact, Marine's ability to heal the two-faced Nua is really vague. This is mainly because the two-faced Su Nua only used this ability when confronting Marine for the first time. And it is also very hidden from the outside performance. It's hard to say whether it's due to physical fitness or fruit ability to pick up bones and the like casually. Therefore, there are only words in the report that seem to have self-healing ability. Is this the power of devil fruit? Jia Fua, who is facing Su Nua on both sides, is also thinking silently. He also has the power of self-healing. When entering life return, he can expend his energy to heal his injuries within a limited amount. However, before he could feel that the opponent's hand bones were broken a lot. In this case, So quickly regain the mobility of the arm. He could not do this kind of treatment by himself. Give it a try. With this in mind, Gavro moved again. The swift offensive launched again, but this time he quickly found out that something was wrong. Gavro's eyes widened and he backed away. You learned armament hockey? In the previous confrontation, he never felt that the two-faced Su Nua used armament hockey. But now I suddenly feel it. Although he is still very immature, there is no doubt that he already has the ticket to the New World Powerhouse. Yes, it's still thanks to you. Two-faced Su Nua grinned, and then scattered the hardened hockey in his hand. A lot of effort wasted. Hearing the other party's reply, Gavro also sighed. Now it seems that it is very difficult to arrest the other party. As a reward to you, I will use my strongest power. What? When Gavro heard the understatement of the man in front of him, he couldn't help but feel turbulent. Did the opponent not use all his strength? He didn't feel that the other party was bluffing. Under such conditions, there was no need for bluffing. In other words, he really didn't take it seriously before. Gavro's heart was heavy, and his body began to collapse. Will it be the devil fruit ability? The strength of the opponent's pure physique can't hide from him, and he doesn't look like the kind of swordsman. So, the only variable is the power of devil fruit. Seeing Vice Admiral in front of him waiting in full force, the two-faced Su Nua didn't care. Then feel what fear is. I saw him clasping his hands in a strange gesture. Gavro's observation hockey also sensed a strong danger. Field expansion. It was as if water droplets were falling on the ground. Immediately, Gavro felt a bloody monster rising from the man in front of him. The surrounding environment also began to dim, and the surrounding world seemed to have changed. The ground was black and gray, and the sky was dark red. Chef of Fumo, with the last spell of the two-faced Su Nua fell. The feeling of horror is boiling. A strange red door and skeletons piled up underneath appeared, and the ground turned into a strange blue reflection. What exactly is this? Looking at the surrounding changes and strange scene, Gavro couldn't help being shocked. He had never seen such a devil fruit ability. Really amazing. Although I have not seen this ability, but every cell in the body trembles as if feeling the danger. One can imagine how dangerous this ability is. The same is true for Marine, who is not far away, because this weird scene almost included them. At this time, they stood at the junction of the two Su Nua. One side is a spooky scene, and the other side is a normal scene. The contrast makes the sense of tearing in the whole space more obvious. At the same time, I also felt a creep in my heart. Can Gaffalo Vice Admiral really beat that monster? At this time, their hearts kept beating drums. Chapter 19, What is Your Dream? Escape. At this time, Su Nua looked at Jia Luafu, who was in a defensive posture. There was an evil smile on the corner of his mouth, and a word came out of his mouth. Untie what? Jia Luafu's crisis was overwhelming, and he felt that the air was full of crises, and he wanted to escape. But there is no way to escape the feeling. Laugh. Laugh. Blood is gushing. Marine's eyes widened in the distance. One arm of Gavro Vice Admiral fell directly to the ground. Blood gushed out directly from the severed arm. Gavalo Vice Admiral, His Excellency Vice Admiral, all the Marines couldn't help shouting after seeing the situation. At the same time on a rush over. Don't come here. Gavro felt that the Marine in the distance wanted to come over, so he also gave a loud shout. Run away. Don't worry about this place anymore. After hearing Gavro Vice Admiral's warning in the distance, the Marines also stopped, but they didn't leave. Madness. Gavro looked at Marine who was still lingering in the distance, but said so. But there is still some relief in my heart. He turned his head, tore off a corner of his clothes, and tied up the severed arm, and at the same time used his whole body to return his life to quickly stop the blood on the severed arm. Then he looked at the man in front of him with a serious face. When the danger came just now, he had used armament hockey to defend, but the arm was still cut off. What a weird and powerful attack. If the attack just now landed on his neck, he would probably be dead by now. Why didn't the other party end his life directly? It was to restrict or want to see him in a mess. He doesn't know, but from the current point of view, today is probably his death day. Two-Face Unua, tell me, what is your dream of going to see? Also, why did you attack the palace? Gavro looked at the man seriously and asked in a deep voice. With the decline of the winning rate, now I plan to gather some useful intelligence. Even if you sacrifice, you should not gain nothing. A dream? I don't have that kind of thing. Two-Face Unua showed an evil smile. As for why they attacked the palace, someone's face appeared in his mind, and the corner of his mouth couldn't help but twitch. This kind of thing, who knows? Looking at Su Nu on both sides who seemed to be in deep thought, Jia Fu also had some headaches. Many pirates go to sea to pursue their dreams, especially those powerful pirates. This is the belief that they often fight. Faith is illusory, but very real and powerful. If you can find the loopholes in your beliefs, you will even be devastated. But the person in front of him has no dream, or the person in front of him is the kind of murderer who enjoys killing. This is really difficult. You have brought me no small pleasure. At this time, Su Nuo on both sides had come back to his senses and said, I will give you a decent way to die. Hearing what the other party said, Gavro couldn't help but smile wryly. However, perhaps not without vitality. When Nuo was in a daze on both sides just now, he had already observed the surroundings. Although this special strange space has a wide range of extensions, the radius is hundreds of meters. But at his speed, and no one is blocking him, using this distance is not a distance. That weird slash should only be usable within this range. So, just escape from this range, then see if it can fight back. I just don't know if this range can move with the ability user. If so, it would be too incomprehensible. Then let's begin. On both sides, Su Nuo stretched out his hand as if to attack. Gaffulo's eyes flashed, and he kicked the 1-meter-sized stone ruins directly to Su Nuo on both sides. Useless. Su Nuo on both sides looked at the speeding stones, and an invisible slash directly passed by. Cut the stone in front of you directly on both sides. The double-faced Su Nuo who used the ability of Fumo Yuchuzi and the double-faced Su Nuo who did not use this ability are completely two combat powers. Although I spent a lot of time recklessly with the Marine in front of me, I exhausted a lot of energy. But the main force of using Fumo Yuchuzi is the attribute of spirit, and the spirit of the two-faced Su Nuo has reached an A+. It can be said that he is still very energetic. In addition, the ability of Fumo Yuchuzi is very comprehensive, using offense instead of defense, and the release speed is very fast. Therefore, as long as it is in this field, the combat power of the two-faced Su Nuo has been raised to an unimaginable level. The speed is still so fast. I can't see how it was attacked at all. Gavro calmed down and fully activated observation hockey, but still couldn't catch the trace of the attack. He kept kicking out the ruins under his feet, and then kept being cut off. There's no gap at all. What a tough guy. If you only have this skill, then let's end it. Two-Faced Su Nuo also began to feel bored watching Jia Fu tirelessly kicking the stones over. Sure enough, there is no power to resist. It's now. When I caught the two-faced Su Nuo, not being so focused on the battle. Gavro kicked out the last stone, then bent over. The debris of the ruins under their feet was very large, for 5 meters long. It was the target he was moving towards this position while kicking just now. I saw him use his intact right hand to forcefully lift the stone into the air. Moonwalk, he followed with a leap. Shave. This time the shaving is applied directly to the stones in the air, and he exerted a very powerful force. The whole stone split into multiple pieces in an instant and flew towards Su Nuo on both sides. And he himself also exploded towards this weird space with a strong reaction force. The whole process is smooth and fast. Using shaving as a means of movement for attack effects reflects Gavilo's powerful physical skills, and it can still be so fast and stable even when the balance of one arm is missing. People have to feel that ginger is still old and spicy. The whole process is only in an instant. Now Gavro is betting. Bet on both sides that Su Nuo is still careless, and that kind of weird attack can only attack one place. Either attack the stone or attack him. With stones blocking his view, he only needs a second to escape from this space. This is already the best solution he thought of. Chapter 20 Unrepentant Justice. Kizaru arrives innocent. On the other hand, Su Nuo smiled evilly. Although the group of stones that exploded blocked his vision, but observation Haki can still sense the aura that is fleeing this space quickly. So do you want to gamble your life? The group of stones in front of him was instantly torn into pieces by the invisible slash. At the same time, an invisible slash also landed on Gavoro Vice Admiral, who shot explosively. Kiki, Gavilo Vice Admiral, His Excellency Vice Admiral. At this moment, they saw an afterimage burst onto the ground in front of them. Blood stained the ground red. Gavro's right leg disappeared from the thigh. His broken leg was also lying not far away, due to inertia. How can it be? At this time, these Marines are in chaos. Calm down. A familiar voice sounded. It was Gavro who fell on the ground. He propped up the stump with his right hand. Gaffulo didn't take into account the sadness of the Marines, but briefly and quickly said a little bit about the double-faced Su Nuo, then have them evacuate quickly. His Excellency Vice Admiral. Without waiting for the Marines to refute, Gavro directly interrupted him. Stupid. What time is it? Do you want to sacrifice in vain? Future justice depends on you. Yes, heard the words. They took a deep look at Gavro, saluted for the last time, and then started to leave. When they were saying goodbye, Ryomen Sukuna also walked slowly towards Jayafuluo. Gavro was now just outside the bounds of his domain. The current radius of his domain is only 100 meters. Perhaps in the future, after this ability is upgraded, the range will be larger and the limit will be smaller. At this time, Su Nuo on both sides walked towards Jia-Fulua silently. The field also began to disperse. As for those fleeing Marines, he wasn't interested at all. You're lucky. Two-Face Su Nuo grinned and said. His observation Haki is currently unable to capture the complete human form, only to feel the breath. So which part of Gavro's body would his blow hit? He himself does not know. Now, though, the aging Marine veteran is looking lucky. He was not directly hit by the slash. Jayafilo looked at the back of Marine, but the two-faced Su Nuo next to him did not go after him. This also made him breathe a sigh of relief. As for the good luck in the mouth of the man in front of him, he just took it as a joke. Today is the day of his death, which is considered lucky. Then the whole world is full of lucky people. Gavro struggled to stand up, and he didn't stop the blood gushing from his legs. Let's do it. Two-Face Naw. He has been paying for his own justice all his life, and now he is also dying in the battle with the pirates. It's not a pity. In a trance, he seemed to see the memory of the past. Brother Kong, you are amazing. Brother Kong, I also want to be a Marine like you. Brother Kong, you have become Admiral. You are amazing. I will work harder to catch up with you. My justice is justice without regret. Even though Marine has some flaws, I believe that the future will eventually become better. That's what I think, Brother Sora. Brother Kong, me now. Still think so. That's great. He looked at the veteran Marine who was on the ground with dazed eyes. Two-Faced Su Nu raised his palms to give the old man a final blow. Suddenly, He looked up to the sky. That is, a light quickly descended from the sky. It gets slower and slower as it approaches the ground and finally becomes solid. And Gavro was also attracted by the light and came back to his senses. Only a pair of sunglasses and a 3-meter-tall man in a yellow shirt appeared from the light. He looked around after seeing this side. He said slowly to this side, "Hey, Mr. Gavro, long time no see. You look very embarrassed now." Kizaru Polyusolino. Looking at this man who fell from the sky, Gavro couldn't help being shocked. When he came to support, he checked the nearby marines that could support them. There is no suitable marine within hundreds of kilometers. And now Kizaru is here. Is it Brother Sora? He couldn't help thinking. Didn't he think that it still worried him in the end? At this time, Sunuo on both sides also lowered his raised arms. At this moment, he looked at the newly appeared marine with great interest. Marine Vice Admiral Kizaru, Logia Sparkling Fruit Ability User. At this time, the interest of the two-faced Sunuo has completely shifted to Kizaru. He is very interested in this kind of Logia ability. And the new marine is also very powerful. One of the 3 marine monsters, Vice Admiral Kizaru. Even the two-faced Sunuo has been heard of. Are all the newcomers now monsters? They were able to defeat Mr. Gaffulo. How terrifying! Although Kizaru's performance was a bit exaggerated, he really couldn't help but feel a little dignified. Mr. Gavro, if he remembers correctly, he once defeated more than 600 million pirates in New World. Its powerful haki and haki skills, balanced physique with no dead ends in all directions, and very superb physical skills. This all-round strength should be far beyond what supernovas can handle. I didn't expect to lose now. Is it a powerful ability or the same taijutsu, haki strong? Look at that pink hair exuding a Shura-like aura. Kizaru couldn't help being speechless. Really, he obviously wanted to come here to find a leak. Why is there such trouble? Sure enough, he was squeezed by Marshal Kong. And the scene here is seen by someone. In a palace on Nine Snake Island. Mel was also speechless looking at the image in front of him. Unexpectedly, Marine sent Kizaru over there. Fortunately, the two-faced Sunuo now has the ability to subdue the devil and the Imperial Cook. Otherwise, unless Kizaru releases the water, Impel Down will be indispensable. Chapter 21, Kizaru's Attributes. Nami the strong fruit now. He is in a state of video watching the battle. And this state can be blessed by the system. The senses achieve a wonderful blessing. This kind of blessing allows him to perceive a rough model of the strength of the characters in the image, which is a very idealistic state. For example, the Marine veteran on the ground in the video. Originally, his character model was with him, and it should be like this. Marine, Gavro strength, B+ physique, B+ dexterity, B+ spirit, B+ ability, none skills. Armament hockey, Class B. Observation hockey, Class B. Physique, Class A. Although the strength of this Marine's armament hockey is still in the B-level Fan Tao, it is not a problem to use armament hockey's internal crushing skills to bring it to the A-level effect. A-level physical skills are displayed in terms of speed and strength, such as the Marine's special state, moves that return life. It can be said that this Marine is much stronger than the old Vice Admiral that Mel knows. It is not a problem to mix a low-standard Shichibukai in later generations. And today's Kizaru is looking at him like this. Marine, Kizaru's strength, a physique, A+ agility, a spirit, A+ ability, sparkling fruit, S rank, skills, observation hockey, Class A, armament hockey, Class A, swordsmanship, Class B, physical arts, Class B. If I'm not mistaken, this Kizaru should have awakened. Of course, it is not so surprising that he has awakened now. After all, Zephyr became admiral at the age of 38, and Crocodile was 20 years younger than Bullet. It is not so surprising that Kizaru is only fruit awakening at this age. Haki and Devil Fruit as the two poles of this world. In essence, they are all nothing more than power distribution increases. Whichever side has a higher conversion rate and can exert higher strength with the least physical strength, use whichever side. Today's Kizaru's sparkling fruit ability has reached S rank. His fighting power will also climb to an unimaginable level. Because sparkling fruit itself has very strong advantages in terms of attack and agility. And because Logia itself has a unique force unloading technique, plus the consumption is small. Today's Kizaru can be regarded as an enhanced version of Crocodile, waiting for the current Kizaru to advance observation haki to the point of predicting the future S level. And his sparkling fruit is even more powerful. At that point in time, Kizaru's physique and spirit are estimated to have reached S. This is considered to have reached the level of Admiral's combat power. There are very typical examples of those with strong abilities in the later generations of pirates, such as Luo and Kid. In Moore's view, they're all developing their abilities to a very high level. However, due to the stretching of the basic attributes, it only takes a little mistake to fight those monsters. Will be killed in seconds. Among them, the future red-haired Shanks is sure to hit this kind of fruit powerhouse. The powerful Conqueror's haki can be very effective in deterring those guys whose basic attributes are stretched when used. As long as you lose your mind for a moment, the battle will be over. It's just that these will not appear in Kizaru in front of him. Just look at Kizaru's basic attributes. When Kizaru develops observation haki to predict the future, Kizaru's physique and spirit may reach S level during this period. Mighty spirits will be completely unafraid by Conqueror's haki. A strong physique effectively increases the fault tolerance rate, and it is impossible to take it with a dog easily. It can only be said that Kizaru can become admiral in the future. There's a certain reason. The current situation of the two-faced Su Nuwa is a bit similar to that of a strong person. His domain Fumo Uchuzi is extremely powerful. It is different from the casual attacking posture of Kizaru, sparkling fruit. Fumo Uchuzi has a fixed range. This kind of restriction matches the particularity of its ability itself. Plus, this ability is mainly consumed by spirit. As long as Kizaru doesn't fight to the death with the two-faced Su Nuwa, fight for consumption, then it is not so easy to defeat the two-faced Su Nuwa. And with Kizaru's character in the original book, I'm afraid he won't fight against the two-faced Su Nuwa. Mel put his right hand on the side of his face, thinking leisurely. The other side, Kizaru walked towards the two-faced Su Nuwa, talking slowly while walking. Hey, this little brother, can you let Mr. Gavro go? If he dies, Marshal Kong will be very sad. At this time, Kizaru could feel the aura of the two-faced Nuwa being a bit depressed. It seems that even if he won against Mr. Gavro, he would not be unscathed. It doesn't matter whether he is a taijutsu haki strong or an ability strong. In this state, he should be able to handle the opponent easily. Poor Asalino, don't be careless. His ability is very powerful. At this time, Gavro on the ground began to briefly tell the other party's information. Two-faced Sunua didn't care. Now his interest has shifted to Kizaru, and he has no feeling for the Marine on the ground. And he could feel that he was completely locked on by the guy in front of him. If you make a random shot, you may receive a thunderous blow from the opponent. Really powerful. What fun. Two-faced Su Nuwa could feel the incomparably powerful aura of the other party. Perhaps you could try the new power just now. Kizaru analyzed the information given by Mr. Gavro in his mind, and said at the same time, Master Jayafuluo, you should leave here first. It will be difficult for me to take care of you in the future. If it accidentally affects you, maybe I will be in trouble too. Understood, don't be careless. Jiafua took a deep look at Sunu on both sides, and then stood upright on one leg. Returning to life, ran at full strength to forcibly stop the wound on his right leg. Then he jumped away uncomfortably. I have to say that the physique of this world is strong. Even after consuming so much physical strength, plus the loss of a hand and a leg and excessive blood loss, Gaflo can still forcibly suppress all kinds of negative effects and act. This is not only because of the strength of his return of life, but also because of his strong will. As Gaflo gradually went away, Kizaru was also the man who turned his eyes back to his eyes. Exquisite physique and body control, powerful knowledge, strong self-healing power, preliminary comprehension of armed color, and the strangest ability space that can be slashed at will in the space. Just a very short summary. Gavro described a rough model to Kizaru. Chapter 22. Have you ever been kicked by the speed of light? 8 people have left. So let's get started. Two-Face Sunua spoke with great interest. It's really scary. Obviously, I have consumed so much, but I still look at me with such terrifying eyes. Kizaru rested his forehead with one hand. It seems that I have been underestimated. Lifting his head slightly, the lenses of the sunglasses seemed to reflect the light. The man in front of him looked like he was staring at prey. No matter what old man Gavro says, even if the opponent is powerful, using the ability requires energy. With the opponent's current state, even if his ability is really that strong, how long can he last under his hands? It should be known that Logia is the lowest in terms of consumption and excludes some special Paramecia rule classes. What Kizaru thinks in his heart today does make sense. The Logia fruit is the rarest fruit commonly known. Its consumption is very low, and it can use very wide attacks with extremely low physical strength. The conversion rate of physical strength is ridiculously high. This is the case. Even ordinary people can display powerful combat power when they get Logia, and the fruit of Kizaru has been awakened and can exert the same power with lower physical strength. It can be said that he is indeed entitled to be proud. At this time, he slightly lowered his head and looked down at Sunua on both sides. Then it was just a split second. Kizaru suddenly flashed to the side of Ryomen Sukuna, and his feet were also glowing. Speed is power. Have you ever been kicked by the speed of light? As Kizaru's words fell, his feet also kicked towards the faces of Sunua on both sides. A light flashed across. At the same time, a figure flew directly towards another palace. Boom! The entire palace was pierced directly and made a violent sound. It's not over yet. Kizaru's foot emits light particles and kicks again in that direction. Boom! There was a violent explosion directly from the direction of the palace. The sound could be heard clearly even in the distance. As the holder of the Logia's sparkling fruit, Kizaru's attack possesses two characteristics of explosion and speed. This is exactly what sparkling fruit stands at the apex of Logia. This explosion, it's Kizaru Vice Admiral. It's Kizaru Vice Admiral. He's coming. Marine, who was hesitating in the distance, was also full of joy when he heard the sound coming from a distance. Not long ago, after they reported to Naval Headquarters. There's also good news from the headquarters. Kizaru Vice Admiral has set off earlier to support. That's why these Marines have been waiting. It's just that they didn't come until Gafulo Vice Admiral fell to the ground, so that they all felt that Kizaru Vice Admiral couldn't catch up. Unexpectedly, it wasn't long before they left the battlefield. There was this explosion over there. This is not like that pirate's ability. Hurry up, bring some people back to the battlefield. Save Garoro Vice Admiral first. When the Marine side is busy. Among the ruins of the explosion, the double-faced Sunua's reversal technique was running. When he was kicked just now, even though he blocked the attack with his hands, the tyrannical force still kicked him out, and the bones of his hand also burst open. The subsequent explosive attack also caused a lot of injuries to his body. Interesting. At this moment, Sunua stood up slowly with a wanton smile on his face. With the full operation of his reversal technique, his injuries also recovered quickly. It's just that his physical strength has dropped sharply in contrast. Speaking of which, he has been fighting for a long time today, from defeating thousands of defenders and hundreds of Marines in this kingdom, to fighting that Gavro Vice Admiral. At the same time, in order to maintain a good state, a reversal technique was also used. Today's two-faced Sunua's physical strength is not infinite. It can be said that his physical strength has almost bottomed out. Da-da-da. With the sound of footsteps, the two-faced Sunua also walked out of the smoke from the ruins. Are you a monster? You didn't get hurt like this. It's really scary. At this time, Kizaru clearly looked at the man who seemed to be unscathed in front of him and couldn't help complaining. Just now he was attacking a little more seriously. If it were an ordinary vice admiral, he would probably fall to the ground. The guy in front of him was able to do so unscathed. Strong self-healing power? Is this the effect of his devil fruit? Feeling the downturn of the two-faced Nua breath, Kizaru also smiled obscenely. It seems that it is not worthless. Hey, my little brother, can you please give up your resistance? Otherwise, it will be very difficult for me. Looking at the somewhat wretched, smiling face in front of him, Sunuo on both sides also showed an evil smile. He didn't talk nonsense. Field expansion. As the surrounding environment dimmed down, Chef of Fumo, this is feeling the creepiness around, as if filled with a space full of strong malice. Kizaru couldn't help but be amazed. There is a difference between what you hear and what you see. Experience this ability for yourself now. I have to marvel that Mr. Gavelo is right. It is indeed weird. Just the prelude of this atmosphere can feel the difficulty of this ability. But does this guy really have the physical strength to use this ability now? Kizaru expressed some doubts. Untie. An invisible slash directly cut through Kizaru's waist. Kizaru's upper body and lower body are separated directly. It's scary. It's as strong as a monster. At this moment, Kizaru still looked indifferent. While the upper body was floating in midair, he was still talking. Only, he raised his head slightly, and the mirror light reflected slightly. Your abilities don't seem to work on me. What are you going to do now? Attack me with the haki you've just learned? Kizaru said in a flat tone. At the same time, the upper body glowed and flew back to the lower body in an instant. Unfortunately, I won't give you a chance. Kizaru raised his feet, and the light particles condensed again. On the other hand, Sunuo on both sides lowered his head, shrouded in a shadow against the bright light. Really? Logia is so tricky. 8. At this time, Kizaru, who was still slowly condensing light particles, was suddenly in crisis. What? I saw a long and narrow cut in his upper body. Blood started to spurt a little. Before he could say anything, dozens of slashes fell on his body. In this crisis, a ray of light flashed in an instant. Kizaru appeared in the upper part of the field. At this time, there were already a dozen long and narrow wounds on his chest. He didn't dodge a single slash just now. Because the speed is too fast, it seems to be an attack that is synchronized with the opponent's consciousness. In other words, in order to avoid this kind of attack, the speed of the body must be faster than the speed of the opponent's consciousness. It's such a tricky ability. Are the newcomers so strong now? We old seniors will be deflated if we don't pay attention. He didn't feel the traces of haki, but the slashes could hurt him. This ability is really tricky. At this point, Kizaru touched his own wound. He simply has Logia's unique defense mechanism, plus the weakening of the body's potential haki and the bonus of his own body. Under various conditions, it made his wound look serious, but could only be regarded as a minor injury. It's just that you can't enter that weird space again. It will be very troublesome to fight him inside, and if there are too many minor injuries, it will be a serious injury. Chapter 23, 8-foot Kyongoyu. The end of the battle, Galvoro, in the distance, and Marine, who came to rescue him next to him, looked at Kizaru's wound in midair. Also a little shocked, especially Gavro. He didn't expect to hit Kizaru with that kind of attack. Fortunately, he felt that Kizaru's aura was still terrifyingly strong. It looks like it shouldn't be a serious injury. And over the field, since you can't fight melee, let's attack from afar. The opponent's abilities are indeed powerful, but as long as they are out of the scope of that ability circle, there is nothing to be afraid of. With the opponent's current physical strength, such a powerful ability shouldn't take long. At this point, Kizaru made up his mind to engage in a war of attrition. The blood on his body has also stopped now, and the benefits of a strong body are also displayed here. Kizaru is now suspended in midair, arms crossed. A blinding flash gathered 2 flashes on his hands. 2 flashes intertwined. It makes the sky seem to have another sun. Some Marines, looking directly at Kizaru from a distance, feel like their eyes are about to shed tears. 8-foot Kyongyu, along with Kizaru, whispered. In an instant, countless dazzling light bullets appeared from his fingertips, suddenly shot towards the man in the weird space below. Boom, boom, boom. Explosions continued to sound, and the whole earth seemed to be ravaged. The splashed smoke directly enveloped the space below. It's amazing. It's too strong. Kizaru Vice Admiral is too strong. Even if that monster is attacked like this, it will probably fall down. No wonder Kizaru Vice Admiral is known as the 3 great monsters Vice Admiral. Aren't the other 2 Vice Admirals a kind of vice admiral, and Akiji vice admiral, also so powerful. At this time, the Marines next to Gavro couldn't help but marvel at the seemingly endless light bullets. Such an attack is shocking. Seeing the amazement of the cubs next to him, Gavro was also a little emotional. I am really old, and it is great that the new generation of Marine has Kizaru as the backbone to provoke the pillars. Only, a look of seriousness flashed across his face. Look out for the area bombed by Kizaru. Will that man really end like this? Rationally, it seems that the opponent's physical strength is not much, and it should be impossible to continue to support it. But Gavro, who has been fighting with him for a while, can clearly feel that the man is different from ordinary arrogant pirates. Although that man is arrogant, he is by no means a brainless person. What is he relying on? How dare you act recklessly? In another hidden corner, a man was secretly filming the spectacular scene in the sky with a camera. The word "big news" was still muttering in his mouth. He is a reporter deployed by the World Economic News near here. The recent two-phase stalls are a hot spot of events, so the World Economic News has dedicated reporters in countries where the two-phase stalls may appear. But now he was hit by his good luck. He didn't crazily snatch the treasure like those pirates who followed into the palace, but followed the big pirate from afar. Really? Now, after defeating the Vice Admiral in the nearby base, he even faced the Marine's famous monster Vice Admiral Kizaru. This wave, he took off directly. After returning to the economic newspaper, I am afraid that I will be directly promoted and raised. The center of the battlefield. Boom, boom, boom. The sound of explosions continued. A little while later, Kizaru stopped slowly and fell from the sky, standing on top of a palace overlooking the area. Even though they have been attacking for so long, that weird space still hasn't disappeared. So Kizaru decided to stop and check the situation first. The thick smoke gradually dissipated. The battlefield also revealed a scene. It was still the weird scene, as if it hadn't changed, and the stalls on both sides were still standing in place. Looks unscathed. If you look through the scene, you can see that there is still a rugged stone pillar at the foot of the two sides of the tent at the bottom of the domain. Within a range of 30 meters around, there are deep pits more than 40 meters deep. The domains of the two-sided stalls are like paintings in the air, so ordinary people can only see the undamaged side of the domain. How is it possible that nothing happened? At this time, Marine, who had excellent vision in the distance, couldn't help being shocked. Under the horrific intensive bombardment of Kizaru Vice Admiral just now, the man seemed to be unscathed. Why is it so powerful? They are obviously just rising pirates. The same is true for Gavro Vice Admiral. He clearly sensed that the man's aura had bottomed out. Why can it still persist for so long? It's incredible. Hey. This guy is really unreasonable. It's a little difficult. At this moment, Kizaru felt a little helpless looking at the uninjured figure. At this point, he already wants to back down. I don't know how long it will take to keep fighting. Obviously, he just came here to pick up a leak. I don't intend to fight to the death. Kizaru directly turned into a flash of light and came in front of Gavoro Vice Admiral and Marine. This battle ends here. The opponent is too tricky, like a monster. I'm afraid I can only let Sengoku Admiral do it. Kizaru just said a few words lightly and attributed the conclusion to the other party. Then he walked directly outside. The remaining Marine looked at each other in blank dismay. Gavro, on the other hand, had a dark face. Although he hoped that Kizaru would continue to fight and arrest the man, he could not order Kizaru either. Well, at this point he could not help but sigh. I don't know if there will be such a good opportunity next time. With Gavro Vice Admiral size, the extremely tense spirit also began to relax, and his body, which had reached its limit, also fell down. Gavalo Vice Admiral. Your Excellency Vice Admiral. Marine next to him panicked. They didn't care about anything else, and immediately lifted Gavro to a wooden board that had been prepared, and then rushed towards the treatment point. The two-sided stalls in the area watched the Marine go away, but they didn't chase after him either. Now, it is really difficult for him to win against that Marine. This battle is enough fun. Let's talk about the rest next time. He canceled the field, exposing the pothole underneath, and jumped over it. Daughter Island. Mel looked at the two-sided dormitory that was starting to leave, sensing the hidden reporter in the distance, and also smiled. Immediately, the image was turned off. It's really hard to beat Kizaru in today's Ryomen Sukuna. He sees it clearly, although those light bullets that hit him were cut by that quick slash. However, the explosion of the light bomb itself still caused some damage to the two sides. It was just cured by the reversal technique. In addition to this, the other is the restriction of Fumo Uchuzi. The Fumo Uchuzi provided by the Avatar Mall is to paint in the air and fix a certain area. In other words, each expansion of the field is a process of painting, which takes time. At the same time, it takes a lot to expand once. Uninterrupted attack consumption is also high, and Fumo Uchuzi's attacks are divided into ordinary slashes and slashes that must be cut, depending on the difference in mental power. Normal slashes do no damage to Kizaru's elementalization, and the second slash can damage Kizaru due to its special effect. But this kind of slash consumes more. A strong player like Kizaru who is good at long-distance attack and fast at the same time, it is difficult for both sides to catch him by surprise. Plus, Kizaru's knowledge is still higher than him. Put it all together, it's really a protracted war, and the two-sided dormitory can't last long. But this time it's Kizaru. Such is his character. If it is a Kainu or Akiji, it is estimated that the situation will change. Mel guessed that they were all awakened too. The scorching heat and smoke of a Kainu, the freezing and low temperature of Akiji. Even if these attacks are cut and chopped, they will still exert this characteristic. It can only be said that none of these future 3 admirals are easy to mess with. The basic attributes of the current two-faced stall are lower than theirs, and Fumo Uchuzi is only a level. If the current two-faced stalls want to compete with them, they need to grow a bit more. This time will not be too far away. After this incident is fermented, attributes can at least make up for some shortcomings. Chapter 24: Fermentation of a Big Event. Let him be my husband the next day. New newspapers and reward orders fly to all parts of the world with news birds from all over the world. Big shock. The world's most evil pirate king of fear has 2 faces. The pirate supernova who is about to rule the new world, with the eye-catching words on the first page of the newspaper. Everyone who got this urgent paper all over the world couldn't help but be attracted by this headline. Naval headquarters. In a conference room. Boom. With a bang, Sengoku slammed a newspaper down on the conference table, then said it out loud. What's the matter with Paulicelino? Not only did he fail to knock down this double-faced Su Nua, on the contrary, he gave this pirate such a great reputation. At this moment, his face was a little dark. If it weren't for Paulicelino not being here, he would have scolded him directly. No wonder Sengoku was so angry. The newspapers directly exaggerated the achievements of the two-faced Su Nua. Defeat thousands of kingdom guards, followed by the defeat of the old Marine Vice Admiral. And finally, the Marine Monster Vice Admiral came to support the defeat. It even comes with a picture of what looks like a serious injury on Kizaru. As for the photos of the two-faced Su Nua's injuries, there are none. There's only the appearance of being unscathed after being bombarded by Kizaru in the weird space. People who don't know the truth. It is easy to be led by the newspapers to accept the above statement. On the conference table, Crane crossed his hands and said calmly, Sengoku, calm down first. Xiaohua is right. Sengoku, calm down first. You are so frizzy at such an age. At this time, Garp leaned back on the chair, said while reaching out to grab a handful of Senbei snacks to eat. The voice was a little muffled. Hearing Garp's voice, Sengoku couldn't help but black thread. Shut up, Garp. You're the only one who is not qualified to say such things. Seeing the two pouting there, Crane couldn't help but sighed and continued. I didn't expect Morgans to dare to make up such nonsense this time. It seems that the negotiations with the world government have failed. Tsuru looked at Sora, who was headed by the conference table, and said, Next, what will Marshal Kong do? Sitting in the leader's position, Kong sat in a trance with a dazed expression, only returning to his senses when he heard Crane's question. He thought of Gavro. Luckily, the kid was not dead. The world government has issued an order, and now the two-faced Su Nua has captured the palaces of the 3 alliance countries in succession. The crime is heinous. We are required to deal with this person as soon as possible, Kong said in a deep voice. According to the route of the two-faced Sunua, he will come to Sabeti Archipelago soon. At that time, Garp, let Sengoku go there. He had received reports from Kizaru before, but he didn't want to believe a single punctuation mark. What injury is serious? Want to take sick leave? And so on. His brow was wrinkled, but in the end, he was granted a week's vacation for the sake of saving Gavelo. At the meeting, everyone nodded when they heard Sora's decision. Apart from Garp's protests, Kong's previous statement amounted to distrusting his abilities. How can he bear it? Finally, he was stopped by the crane. Then it's decided. Soon the meeting came to a conclusion. On a sea area of Grand Line New World, in a large warship, Akainu wrinkled his forehead as he looked at the newspaper in his hand. As his mood changed, the air seemed to heat up. That fellow Pagliasolino. Red magma burst out from his hand, directly burning the newspaper. Look at the reward order on the table. The King of Fear has two faces, Let me bury it then. As he turned his head away, some dim light fell on the bounty order. The King of Fear has two faces and offers a bounty to kill Bailey. The first half of the Grand Line, Sabeti Archipelago, Shaki's Drum Barbar. Rayleigh was sitting in the high chair, drinking a glass of glass. There's also a reward order on the table. After another glass of wine, Rayleigh couldn't help but sigh. Young people nowadays are really amazing. So many troubles have happened in just over half a month. Shaki on the side exhaled a puff of smoke and smiled slightly. Yeah, I didn't expect him to become so strong in such a short period of time. King of Fear, hee. Even his nickname has changed. That guy Morgans will kill. This title will probably attract the attention of New World pirate overlords. Rayleigh bowed slightly at Shaki's words. Mirrors reflect light. Now New World is dominated by that guy Whitebeard. I'm afraid this boy will challenge Whitebeard when he goes to New World. It's really interesting. Shaki shook his head. Let's talk about it after he passes the Marine level first. I don't know what the Marine will do. Grand Line, New World Wanakuni, Ghost Island. A burly man with horns on his head is drinking nonstop. It is the great pirate Kaido from New World. King of Fear, Mofased Suno. How boring. Kaido stared at the newspaper, not very interested. Now that idiot Kazuki Oden is still dancing, and Kaido has no interest in newcomers outside, while still having internal worries. While Kaido continues to drink. Jin next to him was a little dignified. The newspaper said Kizaru had lost, although he didn't quite believe it. But in comparison, the defeat of another Marine Vice Admiral is much more credible. Even though they're only pirates in the first half of the Grand Line, they can be rewarded with a reward of 820 million Baileys. This man is not simple, and most importantly, he saw that the man's clothing style was somewhat similar to Wanakuni's. Do you know what relationship this man has with this country? If he comes to help Kazuki Oden, he'll be in trouble. He was a little worried about this happening. New World, Cake Island of all nations. In a pink castle. Mama, this newcomer looks very strong. If he lives to come to New World, let him be my husband. A middle-aged woman with long pink hair wearing a pirate hat. While eating the cake, he read the newspaper and said, she is the most powerful female pirate in New World. She is also the captain of the Big Mom Pirates, Charlotte Linlin. Hearing her words, another person in the palace broke into a cold sweat. It was her eldest son, Perispero. What mother said is that it is his blessing that you see him. At this moment, Perispero smiled cautiously. And the second son, Karakuri, who was leaning against the side wall not far away, was a little speechless. If that man can really break through Marine's blockade, it proves his strength. At that time, according to my mother's request, I'm afraid there will be a fight. He shook his head. Now he can't influence his mother's decision-making. Only she could do whatever she says. All around the world. With the publication of this newspaper, the whole world is also boiling. After all, this bounty is not a joke. More than 800 million Baileys. Even if it is placed in New World, it is a super pirate. Not to mention 4 seas and the first half of the Grand Line. And as the current ruthless person who keeps attacking the franchise countries, it is also attracting attention. Especially in the first half of the Grand Line, the area with the strongest marine power, there are very few people who dare to do this. In this way, the two-faced Nuwa left a deep impression on most people's hearts. Many people are staring at him now, wanting to see how the marine and world government will end up. Chapter 25. Two-faced Su Nuwa's abilities have been improved. Lovely Hancock. Another day passed. A palace of Amazon Lily. Mel leaned against the armchair, skillfully called out the two-faced Su Nuwa panel. Look at the reputation above. He smiled. There are already 420,000? It seems that the response is quite big. He thought about it leisurely. The newspapers got to him late yesterday. He didn't expect that the nickname of Su Nuwa on both sides had been changed. King of Fear. This nickname is well-deserved. The bounty has also been increased to 820 million. But what surprised him was the newspaper report. They even touted the two-faced Nuwa so much, and even made news of Kizaru's defeat. Praised the two-faced Su Nuwa to the sky, making him feel like he is invincible. That guy Morgans is going against the wishes of the world government at a time like this. Everyone knows that with their asses, marine and world government will never elevate their enemies and demean themselves so much. It can only be said that the president of the World Economic News Agency is indeed very human. Exactly. Now the name of the two-faced Su Nuwa is probably very eye-catching, and it will attract the attention of many powerful pirates and the attention of high-level marines. In this case, it is imminent to increase combat power. Mel looked at the panel, ready to improve the ability of the two-faced Su Nuwa. Swipe around with several abilities and skills of Su Nuwa on both sides. In the end, he set his sights on the Son of the Wind, and if he could, he would naturally want to directly promote Fumo Yuchuzi. But 1 million is needed to upgrade a level ability to S level. But it is far from enough now, so we can only give up first. He first spent 100,000 to upgrade the Son of Wind to a level. Under his gaze, the agility attribute that was originally B+ also became, directly saving 50,000 reputation points. He couldn't help but smile with satisfaction. This ability to passively increase attributes is very good. Then he raised observation haki to A level as well. Today's two-faced Su Nuwa is a fighter of the agile style, and his perception cannot be left behind. Moreover, the color effect of knowledge and knowledge can complement the spirit. At the same time, it can also cooperate well with the ability of Fumo Yuchuzi. With the upgrade of knowledge and knowledge through the system, he can perceive that the mental attribute has improved a little in the attribute range of A+. Not too bad. Then he turned his gaze to Armament Haki, who had a new comprehension on both sides. Armament Haki of two-faced Su Nuwa is currently a C rank. He directly spent 110,000 yuan to upgrade it to a level. The physique in the panel is directly raised from B+ to A. At the same time, he could feel that the power attribute of the two-faced Nuwa had also improved a lot, but it still didn't reach the standard of A. But Mel doesn't care about it, and the remaining gap between the two sides can be brought up by Su Nuwa himself. In the end, the reversal technique was also upgraded to a rank. So far, a total of 410,000 prestige points have been spent on the Zonda, observation haki, armament haki, and reversal spells. The panels of the two-sided Su Nuwa are also completely new. Doppelganger, two-faced Su Nuwa strength, B+ physique, agility, a spirit, A+ abilities, Fumo Yuchuzi, a level, ultimate balance, a level, wind sun, a level, reverse spell, a level, skills, observation haki, level, armament haki, level, physique, level B, reputation, 16565 note. D. Attributes of ordinary people in the current world. Looking at the panels of Su Nuwa on both sides today, this panel and that of Kizaru have their own advantages and disadvantages. It can only be said that the two-faced Su Nuwa relies on more abilities, and the outcome of the fight is really unpredictable. This is the premise for Kizaru to die. After all, Kizaru's speed is indeed a bit rogue. Close the panels on both sides of Su Nuwa. Mel stood up and walked outside. Next, Lingmi and Nuwa will go to Sabaody Archipelago. I'm afraid Marine won't let it go. After all, He stepped on his reputation and captured the palaces of 3 kingdoms in a row, still able to live blatantly. Presumably the
No more novels? Take part in the voting. The most requested novels and those with the most likes will be chosen for publication on euroaudiobooks.com. There, I can upload as much as I want without the risk of receiving a strike. Our 18 novels and other content that exceed what is morally acceptable are only published on Patreon or the free novels page. Remember, the site is funded by donations on Ko-fi and Patreon memberships.